There are artists who create to entertain, and there are artists who create to survive. Julie Pacino is one of the latter. She's a filmmaker, photographer, and storyteller who uses her art to process the past and make sense of what it means to be human. Her new feature film, I Live Here Now, is more than a movie. It's a mirror of trauma, healing, and self-confrontation. Every frame looks like a photograph. Every line feels like a memory. In this episode, we talk about the truth behind her film, how pain becomes art, how vulnerability can feel like a weapon, and why some stories are too real to fake. She opens up about her creative process, shooting entirely on film, and the emotional toll of turning her own life into art. Julie just doesn't make films. She lives them, and I have an endless amount of respect for that. Without further ado, here is my conversation with Julie Pacino.
Yeah, doing all right, doing all right. Getting my health back, getting, out from underneath the crazy creative journey that I was on is a weight lifted for sure.
Yeah, I bet. So I wanted to watch the movie for the first time right before we even talked. So I'd like have it
Maybe a
fresh.
mistake. No.
No, honestly, I wasn't sure. So I knew nothing about it. I didn't know what it was about. I didn't know where I was going with it. So I just like dove in. Amazing.
Yeah, that's the
Amazing.
way to do it, I think,
Yeah.
Like it just requires a certain like openness to just let it wash over you because it's not a thing that you're going to like figure out uh on the go. So you got to just dive in.
Yeah, so the cinematography, let's first go there. The cinematography, every frame is a photo. And it's your work. Like you can tell, because I know your work, I've bought your work. So it's like, I understand like your like viewpoints and like your lighting, and it's your are throughout the frames. Like your name is in that. Like you can just see it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I did work with a DP named Aaron Meinhardt, who's super talented. But to your point, he lights all my photos or most of my photos.
Ah, okay.
So it's like, yeah, that cohesion was really important. And yeah, I don't know. I love shooting film. I love a close up and a portrait. So I'm glad that that came across. That's how it kind of on the visual side. That's how like everything started. It was just with these ideas and these women and these sort of portraits.
Yeah, it came across very much just very photogenic. Just felt like each frame could easily be actually like framed and put on your wall. It was really beautifully shot. And then so much symbolism throughout the film, obviously, so much. But I don't even know where to start because it was just, there was so much to absorb. I loved it, by the way. I loved it. I want to start with
Thank you.
that. Yeah. But I also have so many questions about it. So I'm going to go with what I thought it was, and then we'll go from
Yeah,
there. Yeah, yeah. I'll go with like
you
my,
got it.
yeah, I'll go with my take of what I thought it was, and then you can kind of tell me what it is.
Okay.
Okay,
I
so
mean, yeah.
what it felt like, and I thought it was like generational trauma that this girl had suffered. And that was kind of like symbolic from the childhood memories of her like strapped down and, with the doctors. And then I wasn't sure if like it was a situation where, she had been like violated or something like that, or if it was just generational trauma. And that was like the thing being injected into her was the generational trauma. And then I thought that the mom was like the receptionist, the Sid was like her younger self. Okay, we're getting there. And then I think the neighbor was it's either her generational trauma that she's confronting or someone who hurt her in the past. I couldn't figure that out for sure. I think it was generational trauma because when she was stabbing her and like, ending like her like kind of just killing that generational trauma, I felt like that's maybe where it was. And then the hotel kind of just signified, I think, like her mind, because she was just kind of, I think, like she slept with that dude, and then when the mom went after her, it kind of like maybe like hit this kind of like almost sparked this crazy like schizophrenic like rage, And yeah, so all of this took place, I think, in her head because like the Crown Hotel and then the Crown drawing, so kind of like symbolic with her brain. And then I noticed like Sid was wearing like the same
Mm.
gown that she was wearing. And then yeah,
Holy yeah, that's a specific one on the
yeah.
first watch. Nice, yeah.
I dove in, like I really paid attention because I love these kind of movies where they end and you're just like, what the fuck did I just watch? I love that type of shit so
Me
much.
too.
Yeah, and I think like anyone from the outside service would just say like, well, I'm not sure what this was, but if you really like start to think about it, it's like this is generational trauma. So, am I close? Am I
Yeah, I mean, it's yeah, definitely like a lot of like we share a lot of the same interpretations. I think yeah, Lillian the neighbor is like I think to me was feeling like shame, like the like or like ego and shame around the generational trauma like instead of facing the truth this sort of neighbor was born and created within Rose to protect her from that truth. And the way that the ego and the shame protects her is through different vices like smoking and drinking. And she's kind of like sexually alluring and she's just always trying to distract Rose from her truth, which is does tie into that opening scene, which I think is representative of a thing that happened to her when she was a little girl that was not consensual and really invasive. And I think she's maybe manufactured this story around that truth to protect herself.
okay?
Right? She's like, oh, I had this surgery. And even the doctor in the first act is like, that's, I don't see that on
Yeah,
your chart. And she gets kind of defensive about it. So I think there's also a theme I'm playing with about the stories that we create to protect ourselves from the truth. And in this movie, that kind of manifests as this like fractured, fucked up fairy tale, you know, with this like this pink Bible and these stories that her inner child has come up and is kind of trying to tell her the truth, but she's clinging to this pink Bible. But no, yeah, you definitely absorbed way more than I would expect anyone to on a first watch. And yeah, the hotel being a symbol of her mind or her body or checking into herself, definitely like her inner psyche you know, I'm not shy about admitting that, you know,
yeah.
and I think as long as people are willing to you know, buy into that and to just kind of understand that at a certain point the movie starts to drift into this allegorical space, then it is meant to stimulate a conversation. You are meant at the end to go, what the fuck? But then to kind of check in with yourself and be like, no, what did I think these things meant? And like, you're a great example of someone who's like, yeah, I like, you got it. You know, it's not that hard to get if you just revisit it and think about it a little bit. And those are the types of films that I love to watch and you know I felt was necessary to make in this one for my first feature.
So this was the first time you've ever done a film. How so?
A feature, yeah.
Yeah,
I've done a ton of shorts,
yeah, but like a
but
full length.
yeah,
Um, So during like filming this, I had a lot of questions. Like, do you take a lot of shots? Like, are you photographing a lot? Like, I mean, almost every frame. Like, what are you doing in the background during this stuff?
yeah. I mean, I'm like really an actor's director. I love working with actors, and on set, I'm like there to really protect them and you know because it's such raw material so I'm really with the actors but again like I have a shorthand with my DP so there was a lot of preparation and shot listing and talking about intentional frames and color palette like all these things were just kind of ironed out in pre-production and then that way when I got to set it was like I could just focus on being there for the actors and you know and kind of just being present. So I trusted my collaborators who were amazing is like kind of the answer to that. But you know, yeah, I mean it's my eye, so it's gonna feel like my photographs and it's my team and I'm really proud of that cohesion. Like it's
Yeah,
we shot on film, which was like which was crazy to
you
do
shot
for a
on
first feature.
film.
Yeah, dude, on 35 millimeter and 16 millimeter Kodak stock film, the whole thing. Even the things you see
Whoa,
like on the TV and the opening title sequence, like everything is on celluloid, baby.
Was the stuff on TV, the TV's your early footage of you being younger?
That's a great question.
I
So okay, so the stuff at the end is my
thought so.
footage,
I thought so.
and the stuff on the TV is the actor who played the mother, Ada,
Okay.
who's watching it. It's her childhood footage.
Oh, that's so cool.
So I like blended both of them. Yeah.
That's brilliant. I love
Yeah,
that.
it was really fun. I know. It was a really like wild experience. Do you have access to like your childhood tapes or anything? Like it was like crazy going back through all that and looking at it.
I wish I
My
have
mom
none
was
of it.
always filming me. Really?
I have none of it. I grew up, in like I would say like my childhood was mostly in the 90s. Like I was born in 83. So like most of it was like
Okay.
yeah, like early child 90s, but no, it was all lost in a storage auction or something like that. My parents didn't pay the bills. And all
Damn.
the like
Yeah.
yeah, all the early childhood films, but all that like archival stuff, did you just like have access to that and you're just kind of like pulling it, or did you have to call dad or
Yeah, my mom and my dad. My dad, I called and he's like, I don't ask your mom. So I
he's like,
asked
I don't
my
know where this
mom.
stuff is.
Such dad shit. But my
Right, exactly.
mom shit was like she had it all archived. It was like transferred from what I think she shot on whatever she shot on onto a DVD, and I had to like rip it off the DVD. But I watched all of it to kind of decide what I wanted to choose, and it was so, just because the movie is kind of about childhood and
Yeah.
generational things, it was like so surreal watching it, and then shooting it in the end when she's like walking down the hallway and we're projecting it onto the walls everywhere was crazy because it wasn't enough light for the film to be able to, like film needs a lot of light. And so
Yep.
like these projectors were just not generating enough light. So we had to push the film 2 stops and we kind of weren't sure if it was going to come out. But it did. And it was awesome. And that extra push gives it that like kind of grit and grain. So yeah, it was fun to dig that stuff up, but also like kind of triggering. Just to see all that stuff because it's, I went through stuff when I was a little girl, like Rose does in the movie, and I can see, you look back on yourself at such a young age knowing what you were going through, and I could just see I was wearing it. I could kind of like see the pain. So it was really such a strange, it was like such a important part of the strange process of making this movie because I was like really confronting that shit head on.
Yeah, it seemed like there was definitely like some childhood trauma that like was put into the film from the director. Like you could see it throughout, because you can even see it in the actress's face. You can see it just, she played it so well, by the way. It was not overdone, not too dramatic, it was just like you could see like this sense of I've given up, like how you would expect someone in that position. Just
Mm,
I've given up, and at the end you just see like this empowering moment where she. And by the way, that end scene, where does that take place?
dude,
Yeah,
who the fuck knows? No,
I couldn't figure that out. It's like, where is she now in that end scene
well,
with the window?
yeah, spoiler alert, whatever. We're gonna just go for it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Spoiler alert, Tanny. Well, I don't want to. We won't put this out until after the movie's released.
oh, okay, cool,
Yeah,
perfect.
I don't
Then
want to
fuck
ruin
yeah.
this for anyone.
Okay, good. Then
Yeah,
watch it.
yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, the so the sort of we call it like the anemone room, and she's kind of greeted with it when she first comes in, and it's the source of her trauma. Like it's that same room that we open the whole film in. It's this sort of jagged, fractured memory of a horrible thing that happened to her. And in Rose's mind, it's manifested as this operating table, but there's this sort of like these strange colors and these weird people surrounding her and injecting her. So at the end, it's really about her actually literally confronting that
Okay.
and and taking that key and going into that room and reliving that event, right? And then purging it from herself and wearing it as this crown to sort of symbolize I'm not ashamed of this thing that happened to me when I was a little girl because it's what made me me. And so I'm proud of it, and it's ugly and it's jagged and it's bloody and gutsy, but I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm gonna wear it as a crown and be proud of it, and I'm gonna make the declaration, like, I live here now. Like, I am queen of my body now, because I've worked through this trauma and made friends with it, and then gotten it out of myself. So that's what the ending's about. It was crazy to shoot. It was not really scripted that way. Didn't really know what I wanted to do at the ending. Um, but we just loaded an 11-minute mag, and me and Lucy Fry, the actor, who also brought a lot of her own personal stuff to it. That's why, like, the performance is so raw. I just put her in a room with our female camera operator, and we were all on headsets, and we kind of just worked through this breathing exercise, and she like, I mean, that shit's just real. She just like exercised some demons, and we got it on film.
Yeah, she murdered it.
So
Absolutely
brave.
murdered it.
Yeah,
Just so raw, and yeah, it was so incredibly well shot, especially at the end, just the lighting and everything. I felt like when she was walking through the hallway and all the uh curtains were just like hanging on the walls and everything, and like the curtains from it was like a circus. And
totally.
and that's what her mind was basically. Like just this
Totally.
yeah, just like that's kind of like what the scene looked like. Like just she's in this 80s style. Do you ever been to the Madonna Inn?
Yeah, totally.
Felt like the
Yeah.
Madonna Inn.
I mean, yeah, yeah, there was yeah, definitely the colors and the way
Yep.
that everything kind of has that timeless feel to it. Super important to just preserving that organic raw thing that serves the story and serves Rose's journey. Um, but yeah, circus was the circus vibe was a huge reference with my production designers. Even just the way that the kind of ceilings were like draped. Because there's just something about a circus tent that's like so like chilling and just
Yes.
reminds me of my childhood. Like, it's unsettling.
What is it about your childhood that it reminds you of?
I mean, clowns or something. I don't know. Or I don't know. Like, life is kind of like a circus, especially growing up, immersed in this kind of Hollywood fucking wasteland.
Yeah.
Like, I've witnessed a lot of circus like behavior. Like as around fame and things, and people kind of like coming up in this distorted way, like, oh my god, I like. It's just
Always in your
there's just like
face,
there, yeah, just this very
touching
like
you.
clown like, lots of makeup in a literal but also metaphorical way, just people kind of pretending um and going over the top. So I feel like that's always in my art, is just this kind of like really theatrical, colorful, bizarre, like not not real, but like, yeah, like heightened reality.
Yeah, when they were in your face a lot, like the directing, like when they were in your face, it felt very like Requiem for a Dream.
Oh, I love Requiem. I saw that show when I was 15, which was like, how do
Great.
you remember the first time you saw that movie?
Same age. Yeah.
Oh my god, what
Fucked
were
my
we
head up.
doing?
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
it's so great, but so fucking dark.
Yeah, the music, but I
Mhm.
remember the first time I did see it, like I didn't fully understand it. I didn't fully
Same.
understand, yeah, like probably to like my mid or maybe even late 20s. I
Yeah.
It wasn't until so I didn't even like any of those films. I was more of like comedy or action, right? Like I grew up, so my dad was like an ex-Navy SEAL. So we grew up with mafia movies and, like anything like Goodfellas, anything like just anything mafia. My dad watched, like huge Pacino fan, like anything Pacino, we had to go to the movie theater. And then it was all about just Navy SEAL movies and things like that. So I didn't really like grow, like the closest thing I ever saw to like film would have been like The Thin Red Line. So I didn't like see
Which is
Kubrick.
a great movie.
Great movie, but that's like the only thing. It's great,
Yeah.
incredibly directed, but that was like the only thing. Like, we didn't like. I think like what was I can't even think of one like the dramatic movies like that your dad was in. Like we didn't see those. It was only like mafia. So
Yeah.
when I
Like
saw,
No Dog Day Afternoon for you.
yeah, exactly, or even like I'm trying to think like the one where he's just passionately arguing. I don't remember. There's so many great ones, but
Every movie he's
yeah,
passionately arguing.
I know, right? Um, but there, he just we didn't really like see films. So the first one that I did see that blew my mind was Crash. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So that opened my mind to like symbolism and understanding, like, because I went and saw it with like a couple guy friends and they were just like, well, that was the fucking dumbest movie I've ever seen. And I was like, I took so much from that movie. I was like,
Wow.
now I have to go down the rabbit hole, right? So,
Yeah.
Clockwork Orange and just, the list of just all the, Todd Solondz movies, just anything
Yeah.
that would just fuck my brain up. And so Requiem for a Dream, I went back down that road and I saw that and I was like, okay, now, like now I understand this movie now. But I think it takes some experience in life.
Totally. Yeah,
Um,
you, like, revisit these movies. I mean, even now, I rewatched Doctor Strangelove last week, and I swear, like, every time Kubrick's Doctor Strangelove?
Great
Are you
movie.
familiar?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, great.
Great film.
Um, it's so satirical and so timely, and every time I revisit it, I'm getting something new from it, and I'm like, "How did I not understand that last time?" And you're right, like, it's life experience, and it's different state of mind, and it's so that's what's, like, so cool about art like this is we can just keep revisiting it, and it just gives us something unique and different every time. I don't know, that's so special to me. I'm so grateful for movies like that.
It's true, right? Like as you get older, you take it completely differently than the first time you ever saw it, which
Yeah.
those are my favorite type of movies where, yeah, you get older and it's like every 5 years, you're like, oh, wow, I see this completely differently than the first time I saw that.
Yeah, and it's just a reflection on you, the viewer, right? The movie's the same, nothing has changed, it's just what we're projecting onto it. That's really yeah, that's really the power of art and why I'm such a big believer in, like, art house cinema. Even I mean, like, Requiem for a Dream was commercially successful, but it is an art house piece, and I feel like actually this year I've seen some really great art house, but, like, massively like, Sinners was, like, one of my favorite movies of the year, and it's to me, it's just a absolute work of art, and it made, like, over $300,000,000, so, like, I'm feeling a bit, positive about, like, the state of our industry, honestly, but yeah, I guess before this year, I was kinda like, Where'd all the art go?" You know?
Yeah, I was talking to a filmmaker last week doing a podcast with him, and he's just like, the industry's completely, we can't find work. He's telling me a story about like one of his EPs who won an Emmy, and then right after he won an Emmy, he like, or he was in the car like listening that he won it, and then like celebrated, got out of the car, and then got back in and finished his Uber route.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, no,
it's
it is
crazy
definitely rough
industry.
out there, yeah.
It's wild out
In
there.
LA especially, it's drying up.
It's bad, yeah, especially, you got AI coming in and everyone's afraid of that. It's just like the industry it's a different industry than what we grew up with for sure.
Yeah, and yeah, it's all about making like it's all about volume for as cheap as possible, and that's why the AI stuff can get a little bit, wonky and scary cuz all the agents are just like, "Oh, we don't need like no one needs to put in any effort. We can just kind of like bankroll this." But again, like fucking Sinners, I saw Weapons. Did you see Weapons?
I haven't.
Weapons is great. Like
I have it
it's
on
like
my list.
and I just saw One Battle After Another like 2 days ago, which is also just Paul Thomas and I don't know how it's doing at the box office, but Paul Thomas Anderson, like it's just there's really good shit still, organic, raw, like real stuff, real people that's happening. So I'm trying to stay positive about the future. Otherwise it does get pretty dark out there.
Well, yeah, it is. And what was your inspiration for doing, this style of film? Because like, like these aren't obviously like blockbuster, like this is a very niche genre. And I hopefully it turns into like a cult classic because it seems like it fits that bill of like that, like Pulp Fiction style, like just cult classic filming. But what is the inspiration behind it? Like, for example, like why didn't you just go with blockbuster hit for the first one and just like slowly, like most people do, get into like a niche genre eventually, or you just fuck it, let's do this.
I think yeah, like I think you can probably relate. Like I make art because I just feel like I have to, and I have things inside me I need to express. And so I didn't know, I still don't know. I mean, I'm working on the next one, but I don't know if I'm gonna you never know, you don't take for granted the opportunity to direct a feature for the first time, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever make another movie because nothing is guaranteed to anyone ever, right? Life is fucking crazy.
Yep.
Um, so I'm just like for this movie, I want to put on celluloid the like just the most truthful, raw, honest, expressive thing that I can at that point in my life. You know, we wrapped shooting over 2 years ago, so it was just like that was my most truthful expression of what those feelings and that journey of healing were like for me. They were often confusing and circular and repetitive, and it felt like to lean on the medium of film to be able to have music and visuals and actors and moving pictures like it was just it that was the best and most truthful way I knew how to do it. I did consider the audience while I was making it. I think it's a fine line when you're doing something surreal to when to let go of the audience's hand and then when to kind of pull them out of the muck and shake them and be like, "We're okay, okay," and then kind of it's like it's like psychedelic waterboarding, you know, this movie. Um,
Totally.
so that's a fine line, but yeah, I don't know, like I'm not it's takes so fucking long. It took me 5 years to make this movie, and so I don't I need to do something that I really have to say, and it's coming from this deep place in me, and I gotta get some stuff off my chest with it.
Yeah.
While considering an audience, I'm not trying to trauma dump, but like to commit to make a movie that is like commercial or something that's not authentically me just seems like such a drag to have to put years of your life into doing. And so, um, you know, we'll see what the next one is, but I don't know if I can ever make a movie without being my most authentic artist self. I mean, do you agree? Like, well, because do you shoot like do you shoot photos for clients and products? Right? Yeah. So it's just
No. Yeah, I
the
can't.
same thing, right?
Yeah.
It's that same feeling of it's and obviously like you know we work and I do sometimes right take product photos or whatever for clients and it's you find the joy in it as much as you can but it's a gig, it's a job,
Right.
and so when it came to my first feature I didn't want it to feel like that. I just wanted to make a work of art as honestly as possible and I'm like really grateful that I had the opportunity to do that. It was a fucking dream come true. I hope I get to do it again.
It's so cool. I can definitely relate to this. So when I just recently did an exhibition with my work in Dubai, with Amir's gallery,
Mhm.
and I assumed that nobody in the Middle East has any clue who I am, has never even seen my work. So I filmed like a little like, I guess like like a mini doc of just kind of about me. So I had like a friend come down who, has done a bunch of movies and had like his team come down and they kind of like filmed me. We were going to do like a 5 minute segment, just like a promo. And then after he interviewed me and we did this whole like studio segment, he was like, I think we need like 20 minutes. He's like, there's not enough to tell here. And when I started like telling the story, we realized that my art form is like a version of my therapy. Like it's from my childhood trauma, from all the previous shit that I had gone through. And this is like my way of controlling my world through my camera and, like allowing me to, basically just take away all the insecurities and anxieties and everything and put them away for a moment while I shoot these photos. And I see that in your work. Like I see it in the film. Do you think that it's not only just actually, I guess like, was it hard to go through all this again, all through this previous trauma? Like with my video, like I had to go through childhood photos. I know you said like you had to go through the videos of you as younger, but I was going through like all these childhood photos. I had my mom like send her mug shots in so I could like put them in the video, like all this, because I wanted to tell the story correctly. And if it fucked with me, I mean, for weeks, like I did a couple therapy sessions. Like, did that bring up a lot, but to the point where you didn't, did I want to release this? I don't know what I'm doing. Like, this is scary. Like, what did it do? Yeah, I want to go through what went through your mind.
Okay, but I also have questions about your artwork because well, let me just put a pin in it
Yeah.
because really, like, the wonderful thing I don't know how you do what you do. As a portrait photographer, like, I need a human subject to be able to find whatever I'm trying to express, but whenever I take, like, a landscape photo, it's just the most boring thing in the universe. It's just like, "There was a place here one time." And so, like but your photos are so evocative, and I never knew that you were tapping into what you're talking about, but I totally always felt it. And I
Thank you.
was wanting to ask you, like, how do you get a feeling from a landscape photo? Like, I don't know how you do that. Do you know how you do that? Because sometimes you don't, right? You got it. But
Yeah, I think it has to tell a story, and I think with, like, my work, like, you see it's, like, oversaturated, it's, like, really, like, beautiful, like, I don't take really dark, dismal photos, like, it's always just, like, these beautiful scenes almost, like, out of, like, Narnia or something like that, or,
yeah.
like, just, like, Wizard of Oz type shit because I want to like, I had like, a fucked up childhood, like, almost all of us did because of generational trauma, and so I try to, like, control my world, like, my surrounding by taking these photos. I didn't realize I was doing that at first. I mean, I started at a car dealership taking photos of cars and fell in love with the camera and fell in love with like the idea of shooting landscapes and studied Ansel Adams and like looked at this was before even Instagram stuff. So it was like 2006 or something. So I'm like, just exploring, trying to understand this field. And it wasn't until honestly I did this, mini doc that I finally understood, oh, this is my way of controlling my world. That's how I'm telling my story. So I think like I finally do understand that the way I do it is like again, it's oversaturated. My intention is you're looking at the world through my eyes. What I'm seeing. So you'll walk up to this river and you'll be like, "Oh, that's nice. It's pretty. It's, whatever." But I will take it home and pump up all these colors and make it so it's like, this is what I got to see today. You take that 1 second, that one frame out of everything that I see, and you get just that moment of what I get to see every single day. And that's what I try to like push through my art. I hope that makes
Yeah,
sense.
oh, it does, and I think that's so cool that you're only now piecing that or finding the words for that, right, after you've shot this documentary,
Yeah, which is
because
crazy,
you were
right?
forced to look at it,
Yes.
and that's what happened with me with this movie. It was like, even at times, I felt kind of dishonest because 'cause I'm making this movie about this woman conquering her trauma, and as I was making it, I was like, I haven't done that yet."
Right.
But by the end of finishing the film, I mean, we were in post-production for 2 years, and now that the movie's out into the world, I feel like that. But I had to go through the whole process and look under the hood, and yeah, it was fucking terrifying because it's
Scary.
like, what are people gonna think of this?
Yeah.
And that shouldn't matter because the whole point that we're making something is that people think things of it. Really good, really bad, indifferent is very painful. Hopefully, it's never indifference. But it was scary because it was really hard for me during the finishing process to separate people's reactions from my truth. It's like if someone didn't like it, it was like they didn't like me or my trauma was invalid. And I was so afraid that I was just so afraid that I wasn't going to ever be able to make that distinction and that this movie was going to come out and people were going to have reactions and I would just have to go into hiding until things died down. And on the positive too, it's like then you kind of get caught up in the ego of like positive feedback and I want more of that, and so like I try to stay balanced, but I swear it's like the moment we played at our first festival in July, it was like I was felt it was bittersweet because I just felt so separate from it. I'm just like it's kind of not mine anymore. Now it belongs to everyone else who's going to experience it and it was a huge weight lifted. And so that's the beauty of the process, I guess. And now I that's the biggest thing I learned making my first feature because I'll always make personal movies, no matter what. So yeah, that's the biggest lesson is like you got to just trust it and understand that it once it's once it's officially out of you, you'll be able to have that separation.
Yeah, it's not yours anymore. It's the
It,
world's.
Yeah, it's their problem. It's your problem. You figure it out.
Were you, when you said you were afraid of like what people might say, for example, like with mine, like I was afraid that what my family might say. I was afraid of like what my sisters might say, my brothers might say, my cousins, because it's like I think everybody, well, at least what I found out is that everybody has a different experience. Some people look at our childhood as a wonderful, jolly good time. And even brothers and sisters might look at it, where some of us took that trauma and were just like completely fucking robbed of our childhood. Were you in that position where you kind of like were afraid of family? Were you afraid of friends? Were you afraid of just what the critics might say?
I think it was everyone.
Everything.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was everyone. It was just being exposed, really, just like it because it's so raw. It's just I was afraid of that feeling of being okay, I'm sorry. I'm piecing it together as you asked me. What I was the most afraid of was honestly not being understood. That no one, my family, critics, audiences, that no one would get it, and
Right.
everyone would be like, "What the fuck is Julie doing in this medium?" And that was the scariest thing because it's just like, no, your experience was a thing only you went through, and no one can relate to you, so you're alone.
Yeah.
That was, like, the thing I was the most afraid of.
It's
So
invalidating.
totally. Yeah, and it's lonely as fuck, and well, that's the thing with trauma is, like, it's so s you all it's so isolating. So, it is scary to bring it out, but then the beauty of having that courage is you start to link up and connect with other people that do see you and do relate and have gone through similar things, and then then you're really rewarded by the power of honest art.
Yeah, and I think the hardest part is that when you put it out there, there's going to be people who say this isn't what happened or this isn't how you should feel or or look at it like, well, I mean, great example, you're Al Pacino's daughter, you should have the greatest, like what do you have to complain about, right? Because people are going to look at that and say, well, what? But you weren't there. You didn't experience it. Sure, maybe I grew up with rich family, a country club. Maybe it was wonderful in your eyes, but you don't see what's behind those walls.
Listen, I did I grew up very privileged, and I'm lucky that I had 2 parents who encouraged me to do things and to be in the arts and who supported that.
Right.
So it's it I and I have things to say as a woman who's lived 36 years and experienced all sorts of things. So
Goddamn right.
um yeah, and it is a thing that it does yeah, the nepotism of it all does upset some people, and they don't like that I made a movie,
Yeah.
and that's they're allowed to be annoyed by that. It's annoying. But I can't not make movies and take photos. Like I just can't not. I need to express myself, and I'm luckily I found my art. I
Yeah.
mean, don't you feel, like, grateful that you found that you were taking fucking photos of cars and you found this device that you could channel things into?
Dude, totally. I mean, I should be in prison. Like everyone said, like I remember my seventh grade teacher saying, "You're going to end up most likely as a criminal in prison. It's not going to work out very well." I mean, my any guy my mom married just never, just you're going to be a failure. Family around you, so it's like there's only a handful of people that were kind of like in my corner, like, "No, this is going to work out." So, yeah, I think like there's so much that adds up to that type of anxiety and pressure to be the opposite of what everyone thinks you're going to be. And I think like even it's like in my situation, like I have, like I was wealthy up until I was like 12. Like we had beautiful home, like all, just like everything you wanted, limos to the Hawaii, like, first class, all this shit. It was like the best. And then overnight, just gone. My dad was embezzling money. My mom was in and out of prison. It just ended overnight. Just within, next thing you know, we're smaller house, which was cool. Like it's normal. But then next thing my mom's in prison. Then we're in small, and then we're in like the middle of nowhere in like kind of like a trailer town. So it's like it just kind of snowballed, it just kept getting worse and worse. And I think like a lot of people would look at my original story and say, well, you grew up in the country club, you had Jaguar, like you had a great fucking life. Like you have nothing to complain about. What? Because your parents ran out of money at some point? Boo hoo. But it's like, no, you don't understand because you weren't there. But there's so much more. It's like it's a very nuanced take of just, well, it's black and white. And I think like when you make your art, it's very hard, I think, for someone to wrap their mind around the idea that you're coming from a place of struggling, first off, which most people can't understand that. And then two, you're coming from a place almost of fear. You're not coming from a place of confidence. It's fearful to put that out in the world. Like you said, I just wanted to hide into a fucking, as soon as I put that documentary out, I like wanted to delete Twitter and just like, I mean, I turned off comments on YouTube. I was like, I don't even want to read the comments. This is how hard this is for me. This is the most emotion I've ever put in. I watched it for the first time and said, we can't put this out there. No fucking way I can put this out there. And then everyone else watched it and said, but this is your story. This is you. Like Keith Grossman, I was thinking he would say, John, you look like such a pussy in this. And he responded, this is the most beautiful story, John. You guys, you should share this with the world. So it's those people in your corner, I think, that push for it. Did you have anyone, like, did you show your parents? Did you show family, friends? Like, what happened when you showed them the first time? And what did they say? Like, they just stop talking to you?
Yeah, yeah, my mom was like, "What the fuck,
Right?
really?" Like,
Fuck
because
you.
yeah, and that's the funny thing. Wow, so wait, you need to, like, sidebar, gotta send me I didn't know it was publicly available.
I will send you the link.
I gotta see it, please do.
Yeah, I would love to know what
And
you
yeah,
think.
if you're able to make art that pulls sensitivity out of Keith Grossman, man, oh man,
The man hasn't cried in a decade, so if you can get
my
emotions out
god.
of him,
You've done it.
you
You've done
you
it.
won.
I aspire to do that one day. So yeah, Keith, I'm coming for you. Hopefully my movie makes him cry a little bit.
I bet it
We'll
will.
see. Or he'll call me a pussy too. So
Yeah.
either
Either way,
way,
it's kind
I'm
of cool.
happy. Yeah, it's so cool either way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I showed it. Showed working cuts to my family, and my dad in particular, because my dad and my brother are always like really honest with me
Yeah.
about my work in progress art, and they both have, my dad especially obviously is like a master, so his notes are always really instrumental, and he did give me really solid feedback, both him and my brother, that were just game changing in terms of finding the right structure for the movie. But I do remember after showing it to my dad and my brother for the first time, my dad turned to me and said, this is art. This has made me forget about Hollywood for 90 minutes." And I'm like, wow,
Whoa.
that's and
How'd
that
that
sort of,
feel?
I mean, it was so it was so rewarding and encouraging because that's what I was going for. And then, he gave me some notes that were supporting that, but just being seen in that way, like, "Oh, I see where you're going," was really helpful. And yeah, just from a young age, again, like, just fortunately, both of my dad put a camera in my hands when I was 10 years old,
Oh,
like a video camera, to go and make little movies with my friends. And so, and my mom too, like, was always, whatever I wanted to do, whether it was like karate or softball or ballet, which was lasted a day. Like me in a tutu. And there were some of those videos like that. I'm like, should I do this? I'm like, no, no,
yeah,
this is too
I don't see
hysterical.
your personality fitting into ballet at all.
Absolutely not. It
Skateboarding.
was yeah, I skateboarded, exactly. So that was great. But yeah, definitely having I did have family in my corner, and friends, and a great producer. Like, I had a lot of support throughout this process. However, at the end of the day, when you're about to put a movie out, and yeah, like, you want to turn off the YouTube comments, or there's like people on Letterboxd or wherever it is, critics writing reviews, you're like, you can't really shield yourself from it in this day and age. I got another cell phone with a different number, and I was like, I'm going to just put my old number away, because even if I don't seek it out, people are screenshotting and sending me stuff, and you can't avoid it.
Yeah.
Tagging me in Instagram. I had people tagging me in Instagram. Like, I had people that would like see the movie and tag me and like, amazing. I loved it so much. And I'm like, oh yeah. But then I actually had people who saw it and hated it and were tagging me in those posts. I'm
Oh
like, "Why are you
no.
tagging me?"
Oh no. Don't tag me
It's
in this.
insane. It's such bait, right? It's like, I'm not even gonna take that. I actually will just like the post. Like, cool, you it's your right not to like a work of art. That's awesome. But yeah, just fortunate to have like good family and friends and producers around me that believe in me, right? Like
Yeah,
it's you need that as an artist. Like you said, it's just you come at everything with fear. It's we're so insecure.
totally.
So it's nice to have a couple friends that are like, I'll tell you if it's bad, but this is good. It's like, okay, I'm going to believe you.
Was anyone in your family looked at it and said, "Well, like this is childhood trauma. I don't want you to talk about this." Like, like don't air our family, secrets. Like our lives were perfect.
Mm, luckily not. I mean, my mom was like, because the movie is really like centered around Rose's generational issues with her mother, right?
Yeah.
She like inherits her mother's shame and like and that's not really my experience. I have a very, very tight relationship with my mom. She's awesome, and we never really went through that, but her relationship with her mother, which I absorbed a lot of and I know a lot about, it's like that was kind of what I was expressing with the character. So for sure on the first one, and also Lucy, who played the lead role, like she brought a lot of her personal stuff to it. So, but yeah, when my mom first watched it, she was like, "Yo, are we cool? Because
Are we
like,
good?
what the fuck?" Yeah, and I'm like, "No, no, we're good." But it's you and Grandma, I know, went through some crazy shit. So I think I was just tapping into that. But yeah, no one was putting handcuffs on me, luckily. So everyone was really supportive of me, just having found my voice and whatnot.
That's good. I've never sorry, but I've never seen any of your short films. Were any of them similar to this style, or is this kind of like a new genre for you?
Yeah, they weren't I used short filmmaking to find my style. Like my
Okay.
first several shorts were so bad and dumb and like angsty and
I
just
doubt
like,
that.
yeah, they were. I'm telling you, they were so stupid. And with each short that I made, I mean, I made about 15 shorts before this one, and each one would get a little bit closer to my voice and my style and a little bit longer. Like the last short I made before this was 34 minutes long, and I felt like, okay, I got it on this one. It turned out better than I thought it would, and it was I had started to find that sort of like campy horror, but like psychodrama uh thing that comes across and I live here now. Just that I had found my voice with that last short that I made. So I live here now is the culmination of all of those things and probably is the first thing that I can show people that I don't have to caveat, like
Okay.
I mean, you always feel like you need to caveat things with your art, but it speaks for itself. Like that is my voice. And everything before that, there'd always be one or two things where I'd have to be like, this is what I was going for, and it didn't quite come across. But yeah, I mean, I really took great time and care to make sure that I live here now didn't have any of that stuff because that's a horrible feeling to feel like you have to explain yourself and your
Yeah,
art.
totally. When you have to actually explain what it is, like, you hope people understand.
Ugh,
uh,
yeah.
is it essentially like you've been writing this since you've been doing shorts? Then, like, you don't even realize that you've been writing this movie since the beginning.
Yeah, it started as a short film I wrote in 2020 called I Live Here Now, which was about a woman, me, who got stuck during COVID living in Los Angeles. Because I'm like a through and through New Yorker. I always took great pride in being a New Yorker, like very fuck you. I fucking
Yeah,
LA. I hate that place.
fucking love that attitude.
Yeah, it's in me. But in 2020 I was out here when like the lockdown started and I did get stuck living out here for like almost that whole year. And I wrote a 10-page short that was an allegory for what it was like to get stuck in a physical place. And so it was like, yeah, this girl like checks into this Airbnb that's got like all these California. It's like, always 75 degrees in the house, and she's trying to get it to go colder. And they're like, no, the weather is the best thing. It's like all these things about LA. And it's a cool little short. and I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna make another short," and then I just kinda started sitting with it, and I'm like, "Okay, I'm stuck in LA, I have all this time on my hands, but, like, maybe I'm also like, what are the ways I'm stuck like within myself? And like what are my blockages like within myself? And then that's really when the ideas started to kind of grow and I started realizing, oh, this can be more than a short. This can be about being emotionally stuck and how and the horror of trying to break through those barriers and confront those aspects of yourself. So yeah, it was like a combination of COVID and definitely like mushrooms and, like a good therapist and a lot of journaling that I came to the conclusion that it was going to be my first feature. And I have to say, on back to the like getting stuck in LA thing and the New Yorker of it all. Unfortunately, I've completely softened. Like I went to New York a few weeks ago, and it's just too busy. I'm not built for it anymore.
Yeah,
I'm so cooked.
it's changed.
2019 Julie is like so mad at me. Good. I like to hear that.
No, it's
'Cause
changed.
okay, good. Yeah. But I've also changed and I'm soft as fuck and I'm okay to admit that. It's my truth. I love it out here. It is sunny every day
It's
and
fucking
it's
nice.
nice.
It's nice.
Yeah. It's really cool.
New
Like
York,
going on a walk on the beach in February is awesome.
you ever seen that movie Kids?
Yeah.
Larry Clark, right?
Yeah.
That's I feel like the epitome of New York. Like
Ugh.
that describes New York for me, you know?
Yeah, but I used to love that. I used to love being, like, sweaty and stinky on the subway and being like, "Move the fuck over," and
Yeah.
there was, like, some weird camaraderie in that, but I just don't relate anymore.
Yeah, I can't. I went out
Have you
there.
lived in New York before?
I wanted to for the longest time because I go out there a lot just to event shooting. I just was there to see the new Moon Pay building, with Keith.
Oh, wow, yeah.
New York's disgusting now. It's just gotten so bad, and I'm a I smoke weed. I'm a huge proponent of weed. I believe in weed, but the fact that they've legalized it to the point where you can like just smoke it on the streets. Now you have all these homeless people who are borderline schizophrenics smoking, hallucinogenics on the street in front of children. It's gone
Oof.
down, and I think like weed has really hurt New York in a really bad way.
Wow, that's so interesting.
Yeah, out of all
Yeah.
things, right? But that's what it feels like.
Well, it actually makes sense because it's New York is so, like, in your face and on top of everything, so, like, it does become this kind of, like, soup of and
Melting
of
pot.
yeah, melting pot of, like, disgustingness, and so, yeah, that makes sense, like, just it used to just be, like, trash and dog piss, but now mixing weed in and, yeah, weed is not for everyone,
No,
like,
it's
I'm
not.
a proponent too, and I think there's a lot of healing qualities, but if you're on the verge of a psychotic break and you and you smoke weed, like, it's not getting better,
No.
it's
M
definitely getting worse.
My therapist put it as, like, almost all of us have, like, this schizophrenia somewhere, and we all have a threshold, and some people have a lower threshold, and some people have a higher, and
Yeah.
it could take one hit of acid, it could take one puff of weed, and next thing you know, you break through that threshold, and you're just full-blown schizophrenic talking to people that don't exist.
Dude, that's so crazy because sanity is a razor blade. It really is, and
Yeah.
I've experienced crazy shit, like, I've had
Tell me.
well, like, I one of the f I think it was the 2nd time that I did acid, it was like I did the classic mistake where we, like, took a hit and then it wasn't working and we
Oh,
took the
no.
2nd one, and it was going fine, but then something just turned. We were in Manhattan, which probably was playing a factor, and, like,
Totally.
it just turned, and I wound up having to kinda, like, separate myself from the group that I was with, which was also a factor, like, I didn't know everyone, super well, and so it culminated to me just, like, being alone in my apartment, trying to make the trying to make the trip stop. I put on the Beatles, and it was like, "All you need is love," and it was like everything was like
The walls are melting.
it was so scary, and I'm trying to drink some whiskey, and that didn't work, and I drink some water, and that didn't work, and there's just that voice of, like, "You can't stop this. It will stop you when it's ready," and it's just like,
Yeah.
absolutely mind-bending shit, and then really for about 3 months after that, I was, like, really unstable. Maybe I was, like, 21, 22, and I did have a thing where I was like going to the park every day and talking to like random ass fucking people
Oh,
that like
fuck.
lived in the park,
Oh,
these
God.
like and so for 3 months it was really scary. Um, and I just was having emotional swings, and it was like a bit of a psychotic break, and I that's when I started getting into therapy really. Like I and that became my anchor, like my weekly appointment with my therapist, and I'd report back to her, and she helped me build myself back up. Um, in retrospect, like, yeah, obviously it's scary because I obviously didn't cross that line because I was able to build myself back
Yeah.
up, and I know a lot of people they cross it. LSD especially can just send someone to the other side, and they don't ever come back. I have friends that's happened to. It's really sad. So I didn't cross the line, but I came pretty damn close, and I've done LSD since then because I'm nuts. But
Same.
never too much though. I've been careful and careful, whatever. But I have to say, like, it really was an important thing that I went through. Like you learn a lot from those bad trips. Because it did bring all these things to the surface. I mean, I was 21, I was 22, 21, 22, like, and it brought all these things to the surface of like how I identified as myself and who I presented myself to other people. I started kind of realizing like, wow, I'm like pretty fucking superficial, and I care about things that are things, and I use those things to define myself, objects and cool paintings on my walls, and it's just like, yeah, that's me, and it really broke all that down, and it was like, no, who are you
Yeah.
is no one. So it's a real ego death for sure at 21, and I don't regret it, but yeah, that was a crazy, crazy thing.
Yeah, I describe acid as like a 12-hour journey of hell through hell, complete hell, because there's like that first couple hours where you're like, ha ha ha, good, and then you enter like that oh fuck phase and the confusion phase where you're like, I don't know who I am, where I am. And then the part where your personality just gets completely taken apart and you have to put yourself back together piece by piece and you start realizing the flaws in between each brick, each layer.
It's totally, but that's really healthy,
So good.
as fucked up as it sounds, right? Like,
It's so important because when you come out of that 12-hour journey of hell, everything's so beautiful. The prisms of the water with the light, the anything is just so beautiful. And you realize how fortunate you are to be back here again.
yes, exactly. Isn't that so sick? It's
It's
like,
disgusting.
it's, it is because yeah, you nailed it. You're like, you kiss the ground.
You really
You're just
do.
like, oh my God, yes, I'm back. I'm back.
It's like when I go to the Middle East and then I come back to the US, I'm like, thank you, God, I'm back home. I love this ground. I kiss the soil. I'm like, God, I'm home.
Oh my God. I've never been to the Middle East, but I did just do a whole Europe trip, and I love Europe, and it's cool. And I'm
I
happy
love
to be
Europe.
back home.
Yeah,
I mean, I love Europe too.
I love it
I
here
also
though.
like love
I
America.
love it here.
Like, I'm not trying to say that even in a political way. Like, I
No.
just love the convenience and my rhythm, and it's
Yep.
just I'm American and I feel home, and I know that's not cool.
No, it is, dude. As a
But
landscape photographer, I fucking love it here. It's beautiful here. Like everyone's like, you should go out of the country more. I'm like, you should check out the other states more.
yeah, no, there's a lot of beauty here for
It's
sure. It's
ne-
untapped.
it's never ending. I mean, we have 52 states of just never ending beauty, waterfalls, mountain ranges. You have it all here. I
Yeah.
not in a political statement, just literally just the soil and the land itself. One of the most beautiful places in the world.
Yeah, objectively,
Yeah,
and
objectively.
without any weight to without any, like, I'm happy here and I love it here, and that's how you feel after you've put yourself back together after a horrible acid trip. It's just like,
Exactly.
"Oh, yeah, we're back now."
Thank you,
And
God.
yeah, thank you, God. But yeah, I think overdoing it with the acid was scary, and I think in the recent years, I'll do little smaller doses, and I like mushrooms because they're a little shorter, and they're
Hmm.
like they also you just need to give in to it's like they're I feel like mushrooms are like the mushroom is in the driver's seat, and I kind of just I like that because it's like, show me, please, yeah, show
Yeah.
me. LSD is like way more introspective and personal for me, and it just becomes me versus me. But the mushrooms, it's like I feel like as long as you set a little intention and say, "Hey, like I'm ready to see whatever you're going to show me," like they always do good by you, you know?
Mushrooms is like cruising in like a nice little Bentley at about 45 miles per hour with the windows down during the PCH, right? Acid is like going down the fucking Tour de France in a Ferrari at
Yeah,
full fucking 200 miles per hour.
yeah, no doubt, exactly. So I like, they come from there's something more natural or something about the mushrooms, and the trees start waving at you and shit. It's like
Right?
way less synthetic. So I've softened and I'm more into the mushrooms now, but you never know when a heroic acid trip is around the corner and necessary.
It's
I've
always
been doing
necessary.
transcendental meditation, which has been really incredible.
Where'd you learn that?
Where
Yeah, dude, you taking
I
classes or you just teaching yourself?
Yeah, yeah, I learned, yeah, so I went, the David Lynch Foundation. I got linked up with
Oh,
them,
cool.
and I learned with them, and it was, like, really conducive to the creative process and everything,
I
but
didn't even
also
know that
was
existed.
what?
The David Lynch Foundation
Oh,
meditation.
yeah.
Tell me more,
Oh, yeah.
please.
Yeah, yeah, I can link you up with them. Yeah, it's an amazing foundation. They teach TM to, I mean, sometimes they'll go into women's prisons and teach women who are literally in a jail cell how to transcend.
Wow.
And it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful practice because it's so easy. Like you're assigned a mantra, and the mantra just sort of takes you to this beautiful place. Sometimes you don't fully transcend, but it's still doing this work on your body, and when you kind of come out of it, there's a much lighter feel to it. Um, I mean, I've meditated my whole life, but I've never found anything like TM that's so easy. It's just I don't know how else to describe it. It's like walking across a bridge. You kind of just go there. And so the foundation is really cool because they 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 donate their services to people who, can't afford it. And I'm happy to be supporting them, and to have learned it's yeah, I'm a big encourager. I can sync you up with them afterwards, but like yeah, it's such a cool practice because it just really, you do it twice a day if you can. And it just really keeps me centered, throughout all the chaos of life.
How long does it take?
Usually they recommend two 20-minute sessions, so one in the morning, and then usually around 4 o'clock I'll do one, 3 o'clock I'll do one. If you do it too late, it kind of like it wakes you up. Like it's wild. It just
Yeah.
sort of you like off gas all the exhaustion. So I like doing it around then. So it's 40 minutes a day. Which kind of sounds like a long time, but I could kill 40 hours just doom scrolling like, you ever get into like YouTube or a
God.
Instagram or Twitter, and it's just
Yes.
like time just flies the fuck by.
Just mindless death
And
scrolling.
it feels good, and I don't like that it feels
I
good,
know,
but
right?
I'll do it on a Saturday. I'll just sit on my couch and just fucking doom scroll until the evening.
Dude, my Vice is going on, and I hate Facebook so much, but my Vice is going on Facebook because that's where the dumbest reels are. And I will go through like there's this one like 500-pound dude that walks around talking about ranch all the time, and like but he doesn't talk.
Like ranch dressing?
Yeah, like ranch dress. He puts ranch dress on everything. There's nothing smart about this. Like, Julie, there is nothing that I am getting out of this. I am getting, this is my reality TV. So like, this is my Kardashians. Okay. He just fucking puts ranch on stuff and eats it and like does these
Like a
stupid,
lot of ranch.
yeah, like a lot of ranch, like, and just skits that are just completely mindless. And then there's these two lesbian girls that are just like younger that are just make these dumb jokes about each other and like these lesbian jokes. And I don't know why, but I just mindlessly watch them just make fun of each other. I'm like, I just getting so much joy out of this.
It's so weird
It's
how we're
so
programmed
dumb.
now. Yeah, I know. It's Yeah, there's like a peace of mind that comes with it, or it like quiets the feelings, right? When you're just like numb and
Yeah.
scrolling through this shit.
I
No,
love
me
it
too. I
though.
mean, my algorithm is nuts. I'm like embarrassed to open up YouTube for anyone else. It's not. I have
It's
all.
embarrassing.
Yeah, I got a guy that eats all the worst rated food. Like he'll like find the 1-star place on Yelp and then eat it, and
It's
then is always like,
mindless.
"This really bad." I'm just like, "Yeah, okay, yeah.
That's my
What did I
vice.
get from that? I'll never go there anyway."
You get nothing
But it
from it. It's just mindless. But I think we absorb as I don't think we're meant to absorb that. We haven't evolved enough with our brains to absorb this much information, and we take so much in. Like I'll be scrolling and see that funny fat guy, and the next thing, it's a dog suffering. I'm like, I gotta go adopt that dog, and like then my feeling, then my mood completely is altered. You know, you have to see like that mindless shit to just turn the other stuff off. I don't think we were meant for this.
you no, you're right, and it's at our fingertips, and there's so it is they'll mix in that horrible shit, and it's like, yeah, you need the mindlessness to offset that, or you could just not but I say you could just not, like, look at anything, but you can't,
It's
like,
hard.
it's hard, and the algorithm starts to you kinda lose sight of yourself, like, who am I versus am I just my algorithm? Like, it becomes this, like, really blurred line, and it feels very yeah, I feel trapped by it a lot, and so that's why the TM is really helpful because I'll just be like, "Fucking it's 3 o'clock. Let me just go sit in my chair and do this." And at least I'm getting 20, 40 minutes a day where I'm not doing that, but it's habitual, the scrolling, and
Oh,
it's like you gotta make a conscious effort to get out of that rhythm, and I've not done that really since, like, COVID. I was good before COVID. I had, like, that screen time thing where it would just shut off Instagram after, like, 20 minutes.
I have it too, but I ignore it. I just hit ignore for 15 minutes. It's just become a, and I'm like, fuck, I'm back in.
It's just a challenge along the way, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
I need that meditation shit. I need it badly.
Yeah, no, it's super helpful, and, yeah, we got into a crazy thing just with the Twitter or X or whatever. My mem the spaces are gone now. You, like, deleted spaces?
People still do them. I can't do it anymore. It's just, it's a lot. It takes a lot out of you.
Totally. No, do you remember that in 2022, though, how in 2021, like, how crazy Twitter was? It
Fuck.
was like it was like every day and things were happening so fast and changing so fast and millionaires were being born and it was like arguing on spaces. I just something like it was such a great time because it was so exhilarating and
Fun. Yeah,
exciting,
yeah.
but I wasn't sleeping. Like something changed in me during all of that because it was like really you could refresh your timeline every minute and there was some new crazy drama going down.
Uh huh. You
I
couldn't
mean, it
sleep?
was yeah, no, I couldn't sleep, and I would be like, the next day, my business partner Kyle, like who wasn't as plugged in as I was, I'd like update him on everything that was all the drama, like that was going down. Like Farouk got into a fight with this person,
Oh
or
my
just
God,
like whatever the
same.
fuck it was, and it was like, what were we doing? We were just like living in it,
Dude,
like
living in
in
it.
it.
I would like explain to Jamie, like, so there's this inverse bra, okay, and like it's this little green frog, and like he screenshots stuff from the timeline, and like we all like laugh at it because it's like the funny thing. She's like, but it's just screenshots throughout the day. Look, it's really fucking funny, Jamie. I swear to God.
How do I convince you? Come do yeah, it's just like but it's impossible to plug someone else into it because it was just a runaway train.
It's so crazy. How did you get from pandemic to NFTs?
It was Will Savis and, like and Benny Redbeard and Ian and the Guppy guys, like, they were like, "This is a haven for artists," and it was. I don't know, I'm not as plugged in because 'cause I've been under a rock making this movie, so I don't know if it still has that vibe,
It's coming
with art?
back.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it really was in 2021 at the end there in 2022 when I was introduced, like, it really was a beautiful thing because there were all of us who were artists and photographers supporting each other and uplifting each other and then giving us a voice. It just felt like, oh, there's people that want to listen and want to look at my art and talk to me about it. And there's other artists who are inspiring me, and we're all supporting each other, and we have this like ecosystem. Um, and yeah, anyway, like I'm tapped out of it because I had to go do this movie. So I'm glad to hear that it's like there's still the seeds because there's good people that built this thing, so it's
Yeah.
not surprising. I think the foundation is really strong, but it was that time period was so special and so important. I feel like I gained a lot of confidence as an artist.
Same.
because of that space, right?
Yeah, it got very toxic very quickly, but when it was good, it was really fucking good.
Yeah, you have, like, Time Magazine is like, "Hey, we want you to do a photo for us," and that's so you never would have been able to have that connection otherwise. They were
No.
just picking it they were plucking talent just right from this, like, ecosystem, and it was so cool.
No, it was so cool, and, like, I own that photo. I had the opportunity to buy that, which is, like, I get to own, like, someone's work who I not only appreciate, but, like, I, watched come into the space that I can support, that, like I just think, like, it was the first time in history that we ever got to see artists supporting other artists. I don't think we've
Totally.
have you ever seen that in history? Like, ever, where artists were buying other artists' work?
Yeah, you'd someone would buy your work, you'd make some money, you'd put some aside, and you just would put the rest back into the space, and it
Yeah.
felt amazing.
It felt good. It felt like you were a part of something, like you were actually building something together. I don't think that in that I can remember. I mean, I grew up in the punk era, the rave era. None of that felt like this.
Yeah, it's a lot of, there was a real abundant mindset
Yeah.
at the beginning there, right? And it really it felt like that. It felt like the more you gave into this, the more you got out of it. And so it was really special, and I agree with you. I don't think I've seen that anywhere else. I try to practice that in real life.
Yeah.
It's harder and more expensive.
It's not as obvious either because it's like not on the
Right?
blockchain and
Yeah, it's not right. There's not one place you can go to for it.
yeah.
But I do try to support artists whenever I get the chance because I'm a big believer in that abundant mindset. I think there's totally enough for to go around for everyone to have a piece. And yeah, I try that's where, like, even, when you talk about privilege and opportunity, it's like I just try to use the fact that I'm lucky enough to have a passport into this film business that I try to, like, pave the way and build up other filmmakers who might not have gotten a shot before me, and that's that mindset we all had in 2021, and I, like, really learned that
I think it's
there because it was instant.
yeah, and I think that's important to elevate each other. Otherwise, there's no market. If you're just doing it all by yourself, if there's just one Julie Pacino directing all the films, what are we doing here?
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, supporting each other and learning from each other. But again, like, yeah, there's no, like, singular place for that anymore. But still, I'm glad with the connections I made. Like, you and I have known each other since then. And all these other people. I saw David Bianchi a couple nights ago. He came to the screening of my movie out here at Beyond Fest. We played, and, like, yeah, just, like, couldn't stop hugging him because it's just like we were doing this still,
Right.
and we're supporting each other still. So there's a lot of love that that's left over, and it was a crazy time, but I did become way more chronically online because of that.
Way more. I mean, same. It was during the pandemic. Like, as much as I loved my family, even we were getting tired of each other, and we're just like, all right, well, I'll spend some time online, and then just like
Yeah,
it snowballed into 18-hour days, and I mean, we did rug radio, and that was like just some marathon, spaces between me and Farouk. Like we just nonstop.
I know you guys were savages. It
We
was
went
crazy.
so hard,
I know.
just exhausting. I think like, do you think like that during this time, like during the spaces and stuff and pandemic, do you think like this helped you kind of build into the narrative of what you were making with your movie? Like, do you think it would have been different had this not happened?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think everything along the way played into it. I mean, there were the photos that I did and the community that I built that, was small but mighty and still is. There's still that aspect to it. And had a couple of my collectors that, like, really, like, read the script and gave me their insight and feedback and yeah, definitely. Like, I think it because it connected me to my audience, even though it was in a small way. Like, it, I was still able to understand, like, the types of people that my work was resonating to, and then that helps build confidence and helps grow. And so it all of that definitely played into the process of making this thing, and also just yeah, yeah, it's all such a crazy part of the process. I mean, it's over the course of 5 years, like there were so many different things that I tried to find my voice and my vision for the movie. But I would say just the fact that like I was connected directly to my collectors and my audience, and that I was able to get feedback from them in real time was like the most important thing.
Yeah, no, totally. What did your family think of this crazy shit that you were doing?
They had no clue.
They just clueless to it.
I mean, they knew it's so hard. It was so hard to explain. I think that was a challenge, was like onboarding people.
Yeah.
I wasn't very good at it because they just didn't understand, but they were happy and proud that, I was building an audience through my photography. And so there was pride, but
Yeah.
not much understanding, which why would there be? It's confusing as fuck. Like I mean, is your family involved in the space at all, or what was their reaction?
No, they always thought I was a drug dealer. Like
Yeah.
to be like completely like, yeah, I sold weed in high school and they just figured I just kept doing that all the way till
Okay.
they probably still think like he must be selling some kind of weed because he has a house now. So no, they thought it was completely ridiculous.
You're
Like
like, no, I just bought a fucking photo of an ape once, and now we're good to go.
now we're set for life, I swear. Yeah, they definitely were just like, well, I mean, when I bought those apes, I bought it with our wedding money, my wife and our wedding money.
Wait, was that a conversation? Obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I was on
Was she
mushrooms.
like, no?
I was on mushrooms, so there wasn't much of a conversation there. I was like, we're doing this. Let's go.
Oh my God. Like, trust every gamble you want to make from this point forward now. That's like
Right?
insane.
Just take
Yeah.
mushrooms and you will find your path.
Hey, I think, yeah, I think Deez would agree if he was here.
Absolutely would agree.
Yeah. Hmm.
When you got into the NFT stream, what was your first mint, or was it the timepieces, or did you kind of like go off on your own?
My first mint, my first purchase was the koalas. Remember
Okay.
the koalas?
I don't remember
Remember
the
this like cool
koalas.
koalas or something?
Oh my God. Like that's even a collection I didn't even, that I missed.
Dude,
The
yeah,
cool
I don't even
koalas.
know about all that. And then I was like, well, I'm gonna actually buy art. Yeah, I minted some portraits that Will and the Guppy guys helped me curate, and it was small, but we did really well. And and then that's where I met Keith, like from that original batch of photos, and Maya and the whole time team who approached me and invited me to do the timepieces thing that we were in, and I couldn't believe it. I thought it was a scam. Like when
I did too. I did too.
right?
I thought Keith wasn't really a really Keith. Like I didn't even believe he was the president of. I was like, no way is this guy hanging out here.
Same.
I didn't
And
believe
I
it.
had to like look him up, and I'm like,
Me too.
bullshit. And
Me
yeah,
too.
and that was just so wild.
To get a call from the
Steinbeck,
president of time, like, no, this isn't Keith, because he called my phone. He's like, give me your number, and then calls my phone. Like, bullshit. Yeah, this isn't real.
yeah, and they're like talking about the splits and everything, and in royalties, and I'm just like, what is the catch, dude? And there wasn't one.
None.
And that's like what was so cool about the value that they brought into the space off the bat and infused us with.
No catch, and we got
But that was
paid
crazy.
so fast. Remember how quickly he paid us? Next
Yeah.
morning.
Yes. Yes.
After the drop, we all woke up with Ethan. He sent that nice little like email to all of us, like, I just want you guys to wake up as artists with money. And we were like, fucking 30
Epic.
grand?
Yeah, no, exactly. I spent it as quickly as it came in.
Yeah,
That
same.
was my first lesson.
Yeah, no
I'm like,
shit.
I am buying all the whole Leica kit and all the lenses.
Oh, same, dude. I was like, I'm rich.
Yeah, I know that shit went so fast. And then it's just like so much easier to spend ETH too, like when you are collecting other people's stuff. Like you have that fat wallet, and you're just like, hell yeah, let me buy some art and post about it and spread it. But yeah, I mean, fuck, that was amazing. And totally did not believe Keith Grossman was who he said he was. But he's a smooth talker, so he's eloquent and he's sophisticated. So I was like, okay, maybe he's the president
Yeah,
by the end.
maybe. Yeah, when I finally met him in person, I'm like, okay, he is. I did the drop, and I'm like, still like, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. No, it's yeah, God, so he's anyway, we don't need to talk about Keith. I was gonna ask
I
if
do not want to do a podcast on Keith. Fuck
yeah,
that guy.
no, fuck
No, I fucking love him. He's killing it. He's doing MoonPay. He's,
yeah.
they've got like resident artists. They're helping. I think the first one was like, I know F Dot is one of them, and JN Silva's like shooting photos for them
Oh, hell
and
yeah.
like traveling for them. Like they're doing a lot of cool shit just because Keith came from this, NFT community. So it feels like he is giving me a lot back. He sponsored my event out in Dubai. They're
That's
doing
amazing.
yeah, they're doing good shit. And I think like the NFT space, because it got so degen and like so gambling oriented, that now when the liquidity dried up, it's filtered out and now it's just kind of like we're talking about art again. Like I feel like that's kind of why I do this podcast. I'm like there's a lot of empty air to fill and I don't really want to do spaces anymore and I really want to get to know people better. And this is like such a good way to like long form conversation of just where the fuck does this take us? Let's get to know each other type shit.
I love that. I love like reframing it like that and kind of slowing it down a little bit,
Yeah.
right? Because that was the thing is it got so fast. That's why when I took a little break to go make a movie, it was by the time I tried to get back in, it was like you're out. You know what I mean? Because
The
it's
world
just
has
so quick.
changed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just so much has changed. It was like meme coins, and I'm like, what the fuck is a meme coin now?
Yeah.
It's just if you don't keep up with it, it was like kind of it had kind of hurt you. So I love the more long form kind of slow roll situation.
Yeah, I think it's important. And it's also important for us to like take control of the narrative because we did so much shit back then and we need it to be like remembered. We need it set in stone. So it's like for us to continue to talk about the stories, what we did, how we built it. I think like that's so important. As you've seen like in the past, like even the film industry, once corporations come in, the narrative of the real artists get lost. Like your dad said, this is real art. This isn't Hollywood slop like I've seen for so long.
Yeah, exactly. And it's yeah, I'm excited about that aspect coming back because that's what attracted to me to it in the first place. And yeah, just the singularity of all of us being able to group together and build those relationships. I
Yeah,
missed that.
I do
It's
too.
it's lonely without that and that connection. And it's that's what that time was. It was so isolating, but we were all able to connect. So I was so happy when you hit me up about this because it's like so it's just so cool to be connected again in this way. You know,
And it's a
all the
good reason.
artists are great. Y'all
Yeah.
are great. We're great. It's love and it's art and it's like a celebration of that. And then the money comes.
Yeah, money comes second. I feel like it's kind of like you have to do what you love, and then the money might come, it might not, but at least like you're getting to do what you love. That's the most important part, right?
Yeah, I believe yeah, I feel that. I experienced that. I believe it. And obviously with everything you've gone through, who better to be like, yeah, this is the way that it goes, right? Because I mean, you've kind of seen both sides of it.
Yeah, definitely seen both sides. Do you think that watching like did you ever see like because you grew up in Hollywood, did you ever see like your dad struggle and you say this is nothing I ever want to be a part of?
Um I really the things I experienced growing up as they pertain to Hollywood and my dad's experience was really because my dad, when he had me, had been famous for 20 years already. So what I witnessed was the way people changed in his presence.
Ah,
Just the way that this thing that he I'm doing air quotes had this fame or like power or whatever you want to call it. And when he would enter a room watching how people around him would behave in relation to that and how they sort of worshiped this thing that in my mind at that point as a kid looking at her dad wasn't real. This fame, he was always
he's
he's
just
my
dad.
dad.
He's just dad.
Yeah. So it's like, why is everyone acting so weird and over the top and fake? And so that was a thing that I really always witnessed at a young age. And like I'm exploring a lot in the next thing that I'm writing. But also what I witnessed spending time with my dad, being in this business, because my dad is an artist. Like, he does it for the art. It's just, almost to a fault sometimes. Like, he cares about the work so much, and the expression. And so during COVID, I was stuck with him. That sounds negative. It
No.
got negative. I lived 6 months with my dad. By the end, I was like, "Why the fuck do you eat celery like that, bro?" Like, every little thing was so annoying.
I get it.
Uh,
I get it.
of course, anyone spending 6 months with their parents would go nuts.
Fucking
But
lose their mind. Yeah.
yeah, but what I noticed during that time especially was, the thing that brings him the most joy is creating. It's this thing that brings you the most joy and me the most joy. It's the same thing. It's just, so him just sitting on the couch, not being able to work, and just watching the weight of that every day, um, was a big lesson about the business too, because it's like, it's trying to always stay true to that thing, trying to always, everything you do business wise is in the name of being able to get back on set to express yourself as an artist in this medium. And so it helps me put up with the bullshit of this business, because I know that my intention is, like, I just got to get with some people and make some stuff. So you got to do the dancing and the networking and the PR, and so you got to talk about, it's so pretentious. We walk on red carpets and we take photos, and we act like we're, heart surgeons, or like we're really doing something.
Right.
And it gets kind of ridiculous when you do it back to back. Why, what are we, you want my photograph? Like, it's just, it gets really ridiculous, but it's all part of the machine that is serving the artist. And like, being able to stay true to that and to grind it out, so that way you can get the opportunity to express in this medium again. Like, that, I learned that from watching my dad go through the ups and downs of working and then not working, and really recognizing when his light was shining the brightest was when he was in the process of making something. And I feel the same way. I'm sure you do too.
Totally. I think it feels very transactional when we're doing like that red carpet, or like, trying to talk to people just to be able to sell our movie or whatever film, photography, whatever you're trying to do. Right. And it feels very transactional, but I think like, um, the, there's something that not only that you have to do it, of course, but I think like we learned this during the pandemic, which was that entertainment is much more valuable than we realized. I think like we don't feel the same way because we almost feel like somewhat imposter syndrome, like waking up and calling yourself an artist or a director or a photographer. It's like, well, what made you that? Like, like who decided this for you? So I think it's like when you're like working at a restaurant and you're a server, it's like, well, I'm a server. Someone appointed me to do this. I serve food. But when you just decide I'm going to be a photographer, it's like, fuck you, right? Like, who are you to just decide this? So I think we have that imposter syndrome of like, we're not as good as we think we are. We don't deserve this. We didn't earn this type of shit. But during the pandemic, I think we saw how valuable it is because so many people were stuck at home. What did they turn to? It sure as fuck wasn't each other. They got bored as shit. As you said, just like, I'm tired of watching my dad eat fucking celery. We turned to movies. We turned to comedy. We turned to podcasts. We turned to entertainment, art all of a sudden. And that's what, if you look at what happened out of what the Renaissance period came out of, which was this plague of just people being stuck, dying at home. And then all of a sudden we see this birth of just art, science, technology, all these beautiful things that were, came out of just incredible art. That's what I think happened right here, where everyone was stuck at home. And for just a few short months, year, 2 years, everyone really saw the value of art because they really understood, like, I'm stuck at home and I need this. And it was more valuable, I think, than anyone had ever realized. So I think like when we do those events or those red carpet, that's kind of like giving you like your flowers, as we used to put it, like giving you your props, like just giving you that credit of like, you really got me to turn my brain off for fucking 10 minutes. I'm a heart surgeon and I just watched one of my patients die. For that 2 hours, Julie, your movie got me to remind me of my childhood trauma, got me to turn off my brain of the shit I just watched, and got me to face my fucking demons for an hour and a half, which I couldn't do. And there's nothing in this world that could have done that for me other than these visuals, the sound, the feeling. So that's what I think, like, that's what's that giving us that credibility. I know we feel like it's like we're fraud, like we don't deserve this, right? But you do.
Yeah, wow. That
You,
was that I've got yeah, that was I'm pumped up now. That was
you do.
beautiful.
Your fucking movie does. Your photography, your movie made me think. I mean, I watched it with my wife, who she was even just like, well, that was fucked up. Like, she's like, I got to think a lot about that now. Like, she's like, generation. I mean, we were working it out together, and that's where we came up with the generational trauma. Like, but we were both, she always loves to read about the movie and the ending before she, like, in the middle of it, she's like, I can't take it anymore. Fuck this. And starts, I'm like, there's nowhere you can go, motherfucker. You got to sit here and
Yeah.
stare at this shit.
I sent you a link though that breaks it down pretty good.
I saw that link, but I wasn't willing to give it to her. I wanted her to just,
Smart.
yep. I was like, no, we're going to watch this. And like, so we had to sit there and like, phones were down because it's just like it's so intense that you can't really look away from it because you might miss something and the visuals are so much and it doesn't look like it's some crazy $1 billion budget movie. It looks like you figured out how to make it fucking cool without crazy visual effects. The lighting and the lighting
All practical, yeah.
yeah, the lighting comes through not just like I know you said it a DP, but that DP took a shitload of acid then because that lighting that's a trip the whole way through, man.
No,
That's
the light, you know, the light that like plays over her face, like that sort of technicolor, you know, it's
when,
kind of the motif.
yep,
It's like representing this kind of thing that's like beckoning her to like face her trauma. That wasn't in the script. That was a light that not even my DP, our gaffer, who's like the guy on set that,
yeah,
you know,
does the
runs the
tape.
lighting. Dude, he had some like old ass vintage fucking thing and he was just plugging in lights, messing around, and I saw it and I was like, "What is that light?" And I like wrote that whole all the lighting cues with that light that carries Rose through her journey is because like my gaffer was looking for a light and like accidentally turned that one on and I was like, "That's the thing." And to the point of being an artist, like that's what's so fun about making shit is like those magic moments
Hmm.
where you're like, you can't plan for that shit, dude. Like you can't, and it's scary to know that you can't plan for that stuff because you want to. You want to write a script that has everything in it, and you want to have a pre-production process and shot lists and storyboards, and you want to have it all figured out. But you can't because there's magic moments that you'll miss if you're like so rigid and stuck to the thing that you have in your mind before you're like on set making it. And I guess like that's I thrive in that environment, that freedom. It's just like boundless and just anything is possible. And that's the thing I'm always trying to get back to. So like taking photos and walking on red carpets and getting flowers are great. Like who doesn't love a pat on the back and a
Totally.
little pep talk? But it's almost irrelevant because it's not what I don't feel good the next morning when I wake up because it's like it kept me going, the pat on the back, but I'm like, if you get too comfortable with that, you're like, "Well, I want another pat on the back today." And like,
It's
you know, you're
addicting.
just like, "Well, where did it go?" Because it's not it goes away because it's something else was made now and it's hotter and it's cooler and so it's really hard to separate from that sometimes. We kind of talked about that at the beginning of just
Yeah,
like being able to separate from that and remind that reminder of like, no, I want to just get back to the point where someone can make a mistake and I can see it and be like, oh my God, that's actually the thing now.
yeah.
That's God, that's just what it's all about, right? Like you frame up a fucking photo and a wave makes a crash in a certain way and you got it.
Well, you go back like that's that Hollywood star, young star, situation of relevance, right? Like they fade out of relevance, and it's fucking soul crushing. We've seen it happen to
Yeah.
the Coreys, like
Yeah.
so many childhood stories just start to fade out of relevance, and it's like you are on top of the world, peak where no one gets to. I mean, these are very, very rare peaks that 99% of the world is striving to get to and never. And so when you get that and you taste it and it gets taken away, it's like having lobster for dinner every night and then going to microwave dinners. It just destroys you. And so did you learn that, do you think, at like a young age, just witnessing the crazy shit in Hollywood, and you eventually like adapted that knowing, okay, this is how I'm going to operate and strategize so
Mm.
I don't ever feel that fucking pain?
That's yeah, such an interesting topic. It's yeah, my mom w who worked as a stagehand and an acting coach, wasn't in the Hollywood system, but it was always my mom that would just point these things out to me about my dad being famous and remind me like, you're not famous. Your dad is famous because he worked hard and earned it and he's an artist and people love his art. And so it was like a really important distinction that she programmed into me m- from a young age in my whole life. However, like I still learned the lesson. I still learn that same lesson. It's just like luckily I have the context that my mom provided me to be like, oh, it's that fucking lesson again. Like that's not real. So it's both. It's like she programmed me at a young age, but still like there have been obviously moments in my life where I'm like, I'm the fucking shit. And usually the second I think that I'm the fucking shit because I did this thing and people like it. It's just the moment I think that, it is like the universe almost instantly delivers to me a contrasting thing
Yep.
that knocks me off my high horse.
Yep.
And I eat shit and I'm like, oh yeah, oh yeah, that's right.
I'm just human.
I'm just human. Yeah, exactly. I'm just serving the muse and trying to be a vehicle for art to flow through. And that's and in order to be that, it requires more people than just me. Like I have great friends and collaborators and peers,
Yeah.
these things are all we're like such a team and a unit. It's not one individual thing. Maybe for painters it is.
Yeah, maybe for painters that might work. You you said that, you said, like, that when, like, your dad would walk in the room, like, everything looked fake, everybody turned fake. Was that in the movie with everybody kinda, like, I felt like they were very fake towards her in a sense. Was that kind of that Hollywood vibe that, like, that everybody turns fake when you turn famous? Was that kind of like a piece of symbolism in there?
I think yeah, inherently,
Yeah.
for sure. And the next thing I'm writing is way more satirical, which I'm excited about. Like, I think there's some satire in I Live Here Now in the beginning when she's like meeting the agent, and the agent's like, don't quit smoking, but lose 3 pounds. Like, she's just like, it's all these conflicting things of like, this is so absurd.
Well, it was still
Um,
bright too. Your colors and the light was still bright while it was
yeah.
satirical. And then as it got darker, the lighting got darker, it got dimmer, it got more just depressing.
You mentioned Wizard of Oz as an inspiration for your kind of style, like
Yeah.
ditto in terms of the structure of my film, right? It kind of starts out a certain way and then there's a sharp right and you're in Wonderland or Oz, right? Like
Yep.
I love that structure and saturating and doing all that. But yeah, I think I'm excited to make something that's in the next movie that's a bit more satirical on the nose because there's so much absurdity that I experienced growing up immersed in the industry, but also now that I've gone through it once and made a feature film, I've had the actual experience of
Yeah.
being a filmmaker and I'm like, "Oh my god, I have so much to say about this." Whether it's with fame and power and how people change and become fake around that, or sort of the toxic masculinity and the patriarchy that exists even with a privileged entrance into this business, just bumping up against that glass ceiling and being called like emotional or being put down because I'm a woman and I'm trying to make something that's sensitive, and the men that call the shots not understanding it. Like there's a lot of satire on both ends that I'm exploring in an also symbolic way in the next one. So, um, and I'm talking about it because I'm just in the process of writing the script, so it's like at the forefront of my brain.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say there's definitely there's some satire like just naturally in the DNA of I Live Here Now and probably anything that I do, just because it is absurd to me.
I know it's going to sound naive, but I don't know enough about the film industry, but I'm assuming like every other industry, it's male dominated.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is that like to navigate as a female? And I mean, it's not as common, I would assume, to direct and, produce your own films, this type of stuff. What's that like to navigate?
Yeah, I mean, you have to be a fucking hard ass and
Yeah.
like that because as any independent filmmaker, man, woman, non-binary, whatever, you have to really fight for your art, like nonstop, because there's people who cut checks or who call shots that
Mm.
sit behind a desk in a suit, agents, whoever it is, and they tell you like, no, no one's going to get that. It doesn't work. Right.
Yeah.
I hear that all the time. Um, and I have a story I want to tell. And
Tell it.
so
Tell
I'm
it.
just going to make, I will. I'm just going to make this point. Like, so you're constantly fighting that good fight to say I have a vision and I know how it's going to be and you don't have to get it yet, but when it's done you'll understand. And as a woman, that's the only experience I can speak from. Is it was really challenging because yeah, there's a lot of gaslighting, just a lot of like, no, this is calm down, like calm. The amount of times I was told to calm down, and I'm like,
Fuck you.
why? I'm just passionate, guys. Like I believe in this and I'm fighting for it. Isn't that a fucking green flag? Like you have an indie filmmaker that gives a shit? I
Yeah.
give a shit. I just care. And I believe it in what I'm needing this to be. I'm not inflexible. I know how to be collaborative.
Just calm
But
down.
yeah, just calm down. And or Julie's difficult, and it's like, yeah, I mean, making a movie is difficult. So there was one shot. Okay, so you just saw it. You know how after she's like in the room with her mother, and she's like, you know, all that black stuff is coming out of her mouth,
Such a gross
and
scene. Yeah.
yeah, it's
So
nasty
gnarly.
as fuck. And she says, you know, bye, mom. And then there's like this really long, peaceful shot pushing in of her waking up the next morning in bed. And up until that point, it's been kind of fucking nonstop for like 15 straight minutes, just cutting and all this crazy shit. And when we were shooting the movie, they pulled me in at lunch. These like producers, I had a couple great producers, but some not so great. They pulled me in to watch that shot, that slow push in on the bed. It's like a 20-second shot, and they play me that shot, and the lights come up, and they're like, I'm like, what? And they're like, this shot is too long. It's too long. And I'm like, too long for what?
For what?
No, it's too long. You're going to lose the audience. And I'm like, but you don't have any context on where we're coming from and where I'm going to next. So how
How
can
do
you
you
have
know?
one?
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And that was a big fight. And now you see it in the finished product and you're like, oh wow. You're like, wow, I needed that breath as an audience. Thank you. Right.
Yeah.
Because, and I knew that and I tried to explain that, but it did, no, we need coverage. We need to come closer when she wakes up. I'm like, oh my God, shut the fuck up. So that was one thing. And then the other thing that I'm going to tell, and whatever, like, I'm not going to say who, but one of the actresses in a very important role in the movie, maybe the main role, maybe not. Her agents were like, no, this performance doesn't work. There's the tone doesn't make sense and the performance doesn't work. And sure enough, whether people like the movie or not, now that it's finished, whether they like it or not, whether it worked for them or didn't, undeniably across the fucking board, the performance of this character who carries the film is perfect and everyone is like, if they hated the film, they're like, yeah, but you know, she was amazing in it.
Yeah.
Or if they loved the film, they're like, and she was amazing in it. We felt it. We get it. We got what she was going through. Like
Yep.
you even said at the beginning, hint, hint, not too much, not too like
It's
just right,
perfect.
you know? And so, and it was a really validating moment when the kind of consensus and the reviews and the feedback started coming out, and specifically about that performance, because it's just then she was able to share that with her agents and be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And they're just like, yeah, good job. And it's like,
Fucking you.
you know?
She's defeated.
Yeah.
And you can see that. And someone who has been through generational trauma, childhood trauma, when you get to that point where you're broken, you're defeated. There's no smile. There's no anger. The only time that you actually see any emotion out of her is when she's vibing with that her neighbor. But you notice she never smokes. She keeps
Yeah,
giving her the joint. She keeps
exactly.
giving her the alcohol. Like she never actually takes a sip. I noticed that.
Oh my god, that's so good. I'm so glad you noticed that because that was a choice in the edit. Like it wasn't like that in when I shot it, but me and my editor were like, "Oh, let's just
It's
when."
important.
Yes.
It's
That's the whole point. Oh, I can't believe you picked up on that, dude. That's so awesome.
what were you
Yes.
trying to say with that?
Well, it's just that thing of like, let me keep you distracted and intoxicated
Yep.
and as far away from the crux of the truth as possible.
That's what I thought. And she's like waking up and she's like, no, I don't want to keep taking the drugs. I want to wake up. But you see, that's the only time where she actually has this emotion and you can see it where she's having fun, she's smiling, but she's also manipulating,
Totally.
like
Yeah, no, totally. And yeah, and
she's
that
onto it.
circular thing, like that's in the structure of it. Just she keeps waking up into the same nightmare until she's ready to go into that vent, which is like, now I got to go deep within myself because there's just nowhere else to run. Right. Like that's in the structure. She goes out into the hall and everything's kind of deconstructed and it's just like there's nowhere else to go. And that was really true to my experience in the healing process. I kind of had to like learn it over and over and over again before I could just accept it and embrace it.
Yeah.
It's you run from it. Even with my sexuality and coming to terms with that was a challenging thing that I ran from, and I just keep getting, like, evidence, like, "Hey, I think you're gay," and then I would, like, kinda go in the opposite direction and just, like, get drunk and make out with the guy and be like, "See, I'm straight." It's just like,
Well, we grew up at a time when it wasn't cool.
I know,
Like,
I know.
I mean, I remember,
We were on the cusp, but
y-
it was not cool, it was bad.
no, it was really bad. I mean, first the AIDS epidemic was a whole thing, and they blamed anybody who was gay for that. So it was like, even if you were curious, like your parents would be like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, are you okay?" I mean,
Danger.
I remember even my parents sat me down and they literally said, "Are you a fag?" That's what they said to me. Like,
What? Out of nowhere?
yeah, out of nowhere. Who the fuck says this to their kid? But that was the fucking climate at the time. It was just that was they didn't care and as a kid you're so confused, so you're so scared to ever talk about anything about your feelings. Well, maybe I am curious. Fucking don't even say you're curious because
No.
we will fuck you up. How what was that? I mean, how when did you come out? What was that like? I can't even imagine, during that climate.
It was no, it was like, we were on the cusp.
Yep.
It started being acceptable and, like, I would even say cool,
Right.
in when I was,
Which is
like,
crazy.
in my mid-20s, and that's around when I started to come to terms with it myself and came out, started small with close friends and then, but up until that point, it was a real stigma and I grew up in Manhattan until I was about 11 and then we moved kind of to the suburbs. And so upstate New York and so it was really pretty conservative where I grew up and it was like not, except people got the gay kids in school. There weren't many, but they like got made fun of,
Totally.
and it
Yeah.
was like, it was the theater kids and it was like, what, ugh. And I played softball and I was like, there's a whole like cliche that comes with softball players. So it was all about like, like swearing to God that I just liked playing softball and wasn't gay. And like, so it was really, really, and there's a lot of anger that came with that. And I think, a lot of times I turn to alcohol to just bury that and then again like to be drunk enough to like be intimate with a man because it wasn't a thing that came naturally but I could just get really drunk and also get really drunk and have run-ins with women and then the same thing the next morning be like, oh, I just did that because I was drunk.
Right.
So it's like kind of on both sides. When I would have a sexual experience with a man it was because I really wanted it, but even though I was wasted. But when I would have a sexual experience with a woman, it was just because I was drunk and I was being a crazy drunk, you know?
Yeah.
So it did. It took me till my mid to late 20s to really come out with it. So I'm a late bloomer.
So you associated sex essentially with alcohol, like you had to be fucked up to do anything.
Yeah,
And that already there alone is detrimental, I feel like.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I was never, and it ties into the themes of the film, but I was never consciously in my body while I was having these, you know, pleasurable experiences
Yeah.
or supposed to be pleasurable experiences. So I had cut myself off from that for so long that I stopped drinking when in about 2014. I'll have the occasional, celebratory glass of champagne here or there, but I was like really a heavy drinker, and I stopped that, and I did start working with hallucinogenics, picked that back up, and I was never like sober. I don't want to claim that I, put the effort in and did the whole AA thing, but I did stop drinking, and that was a whole experience too. Was like, who am I without this, and how can I be intimate without this, and who do I desire without this? Because before it was just kind of for show. It
Yeah.
was like, I'm just gonna do this and numb out. So yeah, crazy, really, really scary how alcohol can do that can protect you for so long, or seemingly protect you. I really struggled with it.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. I mean, it's liquid courage, and it almost makes you believe that you become the person that you should be when you're on it,
Totally,
and you're not the
totally.
person you should be when you're off of it. Like you're a better version of yourself.
Yeah,
Social and
yeah,
fun.
yeah, and there was like a learning curve there for sure, but now it's chill. It's just like, no, I just like connecting
Yeah.
with people and having like real present experiences.
How old were you the first time you found like that you thought women were attractive, or was that kind of just always?
I mean, dude, I had a crush on a girl when I was like 5 years old.
Same. Yeah, I
You
get it.
know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, but like when so you go through the, like a childhood, did you know at any point like that you were somewhat like lesbian and you were trying to fight against it and like going through
Totally.
these character battles?
Totally. But it was so, I had it so fucking locked down. Like it was so, I was so far away from it. I
You were
didn't
just good at
even
it.
No, and I just channeled all of my energy into I'd fixate on stuff. So like obviously when I was an adult it became an addiction. I would fixate on alcohol, but growing up it was like I was very into sports, and I played softball at a high level, and I wound up getting a scholarship, and so it was
No
like
way.
I yeah, and so I just kept myself distracted. I didn't It wasn't about boyfriends or girlfriends. It was just like work, 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 work nonstop,
I'll just be
you know?
asexual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish, yeah, I mean, I wish that I was. Sexuality, was a sort of foreign thing, and it was not a thing I wanted to like even talk about growing up.
Yeah.
So I would just run from it. Oh, I'm too busy. I can't hang out. I'm practicing,
Just not
and
mentally there. Yeah.
but like the thing about, again, just like no regrets. It's like that work ethic, like that really helped me develop a work ethic, because it's it's ingrained in me, and I used it as a protective shield for so long. But that's the same kind of stuff that has to happen when you're making a movie, or even preparing for a photo shoot. It's like you have to work and practice, and it's long days, and it can be really repetitive, and
Yeah.
all you're doing is working so hard and practicing so hard to prepare yourself to be ready for the moment in sports. But it's the same thing with a movie and a photo shoot. So you just put as much work as you can to being prepared for all circumstances. That way, when you're actually there and you're on set and you're capturing the thing and something happens, like you can just trust that you've done the reps to be able to adapt and, you know, hit the curveball, or change the scene a little bit because we lost the light. It's like all that same thing. So yeah, I would have had a much less angsty childhood if I was born 10 years later. Um,
Yeah.
but at the same time, like it's a part of who I am, and it really helped me understand what it takes to like work towards something, and to for better and for worse, to use work as like as a thing to distract me from, painful stuff.
Yeah, I could see that 100%.
Double-edged sword.
No, it's totally. Did you feel like you were living a lie at some points? Because you couldn't be who you truly were and you had to kind of or
I
did
think
you
only
not
in
even know you were?
retrospect.
Yeah, you didn't even know who you
I think
were.
only in retrospect. Like I really had myself convinced.
Yeah, you didn't know who you were, so you didn't care. Just
No, and then it was like, then I was like bisexual. I'm like, oh, I'm bisexual.
okay.
I like both.
Yeah.
I did have crushes on boys, but it was more like I have a lot of guy friends. I like guys. I love men. Like, I just
Yeah. You're just
I'm
like,
not
"Oh, he's"
attracted to them.
yeah.
Sometimes I am. Sometimes men are really hot, but there's a step too far with it, you know? So, like, I had myself convinced for a bit there that I was bisexual, and it was like, "No, I just wanna be friends with all these guys who are so cool," and that got me into some trouble sometimes because I did have some really close male friendships, you know, in my early 20s that, where there was, you know, love and romantic feelings that weren't reciprocated by me, and then the friendship had to end, and that was confusing to me and to them too, because I wasn't out, right? And they were
Yeah.
like, "Well, what the fuck?" Like, you know, if you're straight and we have this amazing connection, like, why aren't we boyfriend and girlfriend? And I didn't have a good answer for that, you know, because I wasn't being really truthful with myself.
Well, I think there's also, like, sometimes it's just like, I find you attractive. It doesn't mean I wanna blow you, you know? Like, it
Yeah,
I just
yeah, and they
I just wanna vibe.
yes, yes,
It's like
exactly.
a lot of girls that I've met that end up like I end up dating them. I'm a total pussy. Like, I never make the first move. So, like, my wife, like, we hung out, I don't know, like 5 times. Like, she slept in my house, like, slept in my bed. I never would make a move. She'd go back home, there's like, "Is he gay?" Like,
Oh,
I mean, that's cool if he is, but is maybe he's not into you, maybe he's most likely, I mean, he's sleeping in the same bed with you, he's probably gay, and that, like, you should probably talk to him, just see what's going on because, you know, and, like, I've always been that way because, like, 1, I grew up with, like, sisters, and single mom for a long time, so I, like, not only, like, that respect towards women, but, like, I'm just a pussy, dude, and I just didn't wanna, like, I just don't wanna do it, like, I like vibing and just hanging out, like, I find women very interesting, like, in the sense that I get along with them better because there's no competition, where men are always kinda, like, competing for, like, who's the most famous person in the room, or who's gonna get the top, or who's gonna make the most, it's always just constant bicker battle, where when you're hanging out with a female, it's like, we just get to vibe and just talk and just have a
oh my
conversation.
god, so wait, how many times did you guys, like, hang out? Like, how did that wind up playing out? Did she bring it up to you?
No, I just finally, like, I think after, like, a while, I think I finally made the first move, like, she was one of the first people I did, but, like, it took a long fucking time for I was just finally like, "Okay, I'm just gonna go for this," like, because she's never gonna do it, which is like, "Oh, man, I'm just gonna do it."
That's so adorable.
I
Oh my
know,
god.
like, I just, like, I don't know if it's, like, fear of rejection or if it's just, like, respect for the situation, but I also it's like, I don't ever wanna break that moment, like, I really thrive in, like, that buildup, that honeymoon phase of just being able to hang out, and once you break that sexual tension, it does change the dynamic of a relationship.
That's so true. Sex is the death of desire.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I it's not mine. Someone said that to me once, and I was like, "Oh, I love that." Because same, I love the buildup and
The
the
buildup,
bubbling and
yep.
the tension, and it's just that's where the magic is for sure, and
It's a
it
dance.
does yeah. I love that dance. No, it's yeah, I like that. I wasn't expecting that to be your answer, but I relate to that so much. Like, that's yeah, you're not a pussy. You just like the fucking buildup.
I just enjoy I savor the moment. It's like, I enjoy play more than sex. I
Yeah.
like just the time that it's just like once I look at like it's like the same with photography. I love the journey. Once I take the photo, I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna go home and be sad." It's the destination. I don't want the destination. I like keep fucking chasing things. It's like one time, it was Keith Grossman got me involved in this National Geographic drop because he knew my dream in life was to be a National Geographic photographer. That's since day one. So got me involved, and then like a week later, he knew I would be coming down from it because that's just how I am, and I'd get depressed. So he calls
Uh,
me and he's like, "I got you a speaking gig at Consensus also. I love you. Bye." And hangs up, you know? Like he just knows me because like that's the thing. It's like I think a lot of us though, we have like these really fucking high highs like when you're done with your movie and then the crash. The ultimate, I'm not good enough. Where's the next thing coming? I don't know, what it's like it's always the interview when they go, "Well, what's next?" It's like, "But I just
mhm.
did it. But I just fucking did it."
Well, but it's also what we're talking about with, like, the red carpet and the fanfare and all that bullshit. That's why it's empty because it's not the destination. Like, yeah, you that's perfect. It's the journey, it's not the destination. That's why we do it. We're like, we actually love the process.
Love the
And
process.
I would venture to guess that most artists feel the same way. Like I'm sure you've talked to some great artists on this pod and in general, but that's got to be the thing for all of us. It's just it is that build up and I never thought about it as it relates to like sexual relationships, but I like that you made that connection because it's totally true.
The
Like, and I'm the same way. It's just I'm slow too, and I like to like get to know someone and just hang and vibe because
yeah.
it is the same thing. It's like pulling on the all the ingredients together and baking the cake. That's the joy, not necessarily tasting it is delicious, but
Yeah, don't get me wrong, I love the cake, but it's that traditional, like I could never do the Tinder thing where it's like, next, next, next. It's like I enjoy just getting to know somebody, learning who they are, like just having fun conversations. Like honestly, like the sex part of it is maybe like 5% of it. It's just not
yeah,
really that important until you're actually connected. Once you're
yeah,
connected, then it's like, oh, this is a major part of our relationship. But for the most
yeah.
part,
And that's what's interesting about something serious and deep and long term, right? Is it just
yeah.
starts to then you can find the layers of it.
Totally, but when we're younger, it's like all about like that's like nothing matters. But as you get older, you start to realize like, oh, it's that relationship. Like, I think like we're just breeding grounds when we're younger, and we don't really know what the fuck we're doing. I mean, we should not be set as adult at 18. I think we should be maybe adults at like 30,
Yeah,
because like
I totally agree.
we're just a skull full of mush that just moved out of our parents' house, just like, okay, well, let's fucking party,
Yeah. Yeah, freedom. It's
right?
just like, "Oh my god, this is so backwards."
Did you know early on that I know you said that your dad put a camera in your hands when you were like 10, but did you know like early on that you wanted to do this? Like be a
Yeah, I
filmmaker?
did.
Yeah.
I did. I feel lucky and grateful for that, because I did. I always loved I loved writing too, and I'm like I would consider myself a writer first and foremost, just because it is my favorite part of the process. Because there's so much freedom. Like there's just you could write any scene you want. Like there's just it's not like okay, how the fuck are we gonna shoot this, Julie? It's like in the writing phase, it's just like I'm just pure expression. So I was always like really I wasn't a good student, but I was like a good in English and I took extracurricular like storytelling. I just enjoyed learning about storytelling in the form of writing. And then yeah, like when the camera was in my hand and I started to learn that I could like my friends were so uninterested. Again, they were just like, let's like go find boys and like, play hopscotch or whatever. And I was like, no, let's make a movie. And so like very reluctantly, like I had to pull teeth, but I would make these little short films. So then learning that I could like write with a camera was really instrumental. So yeah, like I feel super lucky that I knew that I wanted to do this
Yeah.
at a young age and also visiting my dad on set and just seeing how cool it could be to build a whole world on a fucking soundstage, which we got to do on my movie. It's just like I guess, like, there's also some sort of childlike thing to it, in terms of, like, playing imaginary and, playing dress up and just kinda, like, getting a group of people together. It's a game. It's like, these are the rules. Like, the script is, like, the rules to the game, and we all get together and just play in this sandbox.
Yeah.
So I try to preserve that, like, that childlike thing when I work now. That's, like, really what it's all about for me.
No, I could totally relate to this. When I was younger, my dad was friends with Kevin Costner, right? Which is like such a weird friend to have.
Friends?
Yeah, like they were good friends because he
Okay.
helped design the baseball field for Field of Dreams. It was
Your
like,
dad?
yeah, so he built a baseball field called Knopf Field that's in Tustin, California. And I guess like this field was based on that model, like that old like 60s style baseball. So they looked at his field and were like, we're going to replicate this in Field of Dreams.
That is so fucking cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. So like he actually ran into him on an airplane and he's like, he slipped him a note and he's like, I designed your field, and they became friends after that. So I ended up at the Water World, the Tin Cup set, all these different sets as a kid. And I think like that was a major part in like my visual aspect because I would walk in these rooms and be like, oh, this is where the fucking magic happens. Not at Disneyland, not at, Universal Studios on the ride. This is like fucking magic. Like you'd see Don Johnson in the other room, like taking pictures with like all the girls like on top of a bed, like just doing the classic Don Johnson shit. And this is like, oh, this is real. Like this is magical shit. And I'm wondering like when you were younger, walking on the sets. Like, what was the first movie you walked onto? What did it do to your mind?
Wait, that is so crazy that you had that experience and we share that. That's awesome. And
Yeah,
fucking I want to see the Knopf field. I want to hit some homers on the Knopf
Tustin,
field.
dude, let's
Like,
go.
okay,
Tustin,
please, because that's like that's so cool. I love baseball fields and I know people like there's like a lot of people that hate how like different baseball parks have different dimensions,
yep,
but I love that.
I
I
love
love
it.
the innovation and the designs and like I'm such a nerd for that shit. So that's so fucking cool. Um
It was honestly real quick short story. I'm on the set
yeah.
of Tin Cup. Cheech walks up to me and I'm like, "Hey, I grew up like I'm like 12 years old. I'm like, I just want to know like I grew up watching the Cheech and Chong movies." And he just goes, "God bless you, my son." Just taps my forehead. "God bless you, my son," and walks off. Like that was my first experience with Cheech Marin. I just had to throw that in there. I was like, at the
No,
Tin Cup,
that's that I yeah, I that's perfect. That he gave you something happened after that touch for sure.
right,
Like
changed my life.
that
That's what
sent
he
you
blessed
somewhere.
me.
Yeah, he did. That got into your brain and psyche. He tapped your third eye
Yeah, totally. That was like
woke
my
you up
first set.
cosmically.
What was your,
Wow,
yeah,
that is crazy. Yeah, I there's so much artistry in set design
so
and
much
building those worlds as you experienced. It's like,
before CGI.
yeah, yeah,
So it's like,
exactly. Now
right?
everything is like green screen, and it's just yeah, it's so awesome to have that stuff in a practical way. I tell the story a lot, but I my earliest memories of visiting set is The Devil's Advocate, which was in 19 like 93 or 94. I was like 5 years old, and I remember walking and seeing like a burnt up corpse. Like obviously, like it was fake, a
Right.
fake burnt up corpse,
But you're like five.
yeah, and I was alone. I had wandered off into some onto some area of the set that they weren't shooting on at the time, and I just remember walking in and seeing it, and I was so scared. But I was but I knew it wasn't real. But the feeling was real. And that is like was a pivotal moment for me in retrospect of like building a world that we all know isn't real, but that doesn't mean we can't capture feelings that are real. And that's the beauty of filmmaking is in the feelings but in the safety that it's not real. Um
That's so
that you're,
cool.
it's I'm gonna call cut and it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
But in between action and cut, we can go there together. That's a really safe place and and a safe space. And so yeah, that's what I love
I've never
about it.
heard that story. That's so cool.
Yeah, I've never told it like that. It's just I've told a more superficial version, so, you know.
No, that's so interesting because like at a 5-year-old age, like I don't know if you had that insight at that moment, but the fact that you remember
I
like that's,
didn't.
yeah, like you remember that's kind of the pivot.
Visceral, yeah,
Yeah.
and then seeing takes of my dad just being in a different because my dad is, is such a he channels, man. Like, when he's in character, it's fucking crazy, and so watching him growing up and then even I remember he played Joe Paterno, the like sort of, famous, infamous Penn State football coach. Are you familiar with like that whole
I know the story. It's awful.
okay,
It's
yeah.
disgusting. Yeah.
So he played Joe Paterno in a HBO movie, and I
I never
remember
saw
when he
this.
was yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
But his performance is phenomenal. I believe I don't know if he got nominated for that one. It doesn't matter. It's a phenomenal performance. But I remember when he was prepping for that role, I went to meet him. One of the things that he does when he preps is he listens to when he's playing someone real. He has his headphones in and he's listening to them maybe giving a speech or talking, just kind of trying to understand their voice and their cadence. And so I went to meet him for dinner, and I was a bit late, and I walked into the restaurant, this like place called Joe Allen's in New York, this sort of really dimly lit theater district steakhouse. And I walked in, and he was sitting all the way in the back. And almost like a movie moment, it was like he was in a sort of spotlight, and his table was brighter than the rest. And I see him sitting there and he has his headphones in, so I know that he's training and listening to the Paterno voice, and he's looking down at the table, and I see him before he sees me, and he looks up and we lock eyes, and I swear to God on my life, when we locked eyes, like, it wasn't my dad, it was Joe Paterno.
Oh my
He looked
God.
he didn't have any prosthetics on, he didn't have any makeup, he was in his normal clothes. He looked like Joe Paterno, and he registered that it was me, and he blinked, and then he was my dad again.
What the fuck?
I get
Whoa.
chills, like, I obviously, like, I was late, I wasn't expecting him to be listening, like, I didn't project that, like, it was just and that whole moment I just described was, like, 5 seconds. It was
Yeah.
like a fucking blink. But and I knew that about my dad, like, because his character I'll watch one of my dad's movies, and I don't associate anything he's doing with who he is at all. But god damn, dude, in to have that experience in a real reality moment,
Yeah.
like, was so insane.
Was he able to turn it off or was he like a method actor?
No, no, I mean, I think he does a form of method acting, but no, he's able to turn it off
What the fuck?
because he's a it's his craft.
You just don't
But
see that though. Like you don't see that very often where they can turn it off, you know? Like it's a common thing where they
it is
stuck in it.
it's so beautiful to watch. He does I mean, I've seen him in between takes, and he's just kind of he's like sort of, the Pacinos, we have bad posture, so he's sort of like slumped over in his chair, and they call him onto set, and he sort of, trudges over, and then action, and he's
Just
someone else.
snaps on.
So I've seen it before, but looking in down the barrel, like, eye to eye, was just nuts, and it's so I saw that shit at a young age. It's so mystical. It still is to me. It's such magic to me. It's so spiritual and cosmic t to do that. I just don't know where that comes from. It's fucking godlike.
I'm wondering now, as a director, though, does that fuck with your expectations for your like your actors and actresses? Like, do you expect this same type of level of like, you know?
I just No, I just expect, like, authenticity.
Yeah.
That's what I'm always searching for with my actors like, what's, like, the most, and I'm not even precious about, like, the words that I write. If it's not feeling right, I wanna know why it's not feeling right, because sometimes actors get a little slippery, and they try to rewrite things because they don't wanna put the work in to make it happen. Um, but but really, I just wanna I love rehearsing for that reason, because I like to find the truth in it. It's like a constant search for the truth and the authenticity. So, um, that's the big thing for me, and then the kind of the character comes second. Is just like, like, whatever's truthful to the moment first. But there's the thing that's so hard about acting that I don't pretend to know, because I'm not an actor, is, a lot of times you'll have a moment in a rehearsal, an emotional reaction as an actor, and the ability to be able to understand the steps that you took to get to that moment and that reaction. That's like the craft that you learn and you study as an actor. And so sometimes I've worked with actors who don't have that craft, and then they don't want to rehearse because they're like, well, if you're not rolling, I don't want to have a moment. And I'm just like, well, I mean, yeah, but if you have a moment and you're a crafted actor, you should know how you got to that moment.
Right.
There's a reason why there's Broadway and theater, and people show up and they do the same lines over and over and over again every night, and it's kind of a little bit different, but it's still beautiful. So, no, I don't have expectations, but certainly, like, being able to grow up and have access to my dad, and to be able to pick his brain, like, has been really valuable in helping me communicate with actors, because I
Yeah.
communicate with him.
So like with my art form, like I have nature dictates my art, obviously. Like, like it tells me when, the sun, the moon, whatever the fuck I'm shooting, it's dictating. With your art form, you create it, but then I feel like your actors, everybody else is the dictator of the art because they're the ones who they take your art now and you've given it to them. It's in their hands and you have to trust them to deliver your art the way you intended to, that you intended for it to be visioned. How the fuck
Well,
do you
like,
do
would
that?
you say that you collaborate with nature?
Totally. It's a full-on collaboration. Yeah. But how do you do that?
Same.
But you're trusting people. I'm trusting a fucking sun.
Well,
People are so much more fallible.
Yeah,
Like,
but clouds are crazy too. I mean, clouds will just pop up.
bro, clouds are
Take a
not
wave.
nearly as crazy as people. You're dealing with a whole different breed of someone who's basically your vision is now trusted with these, you know,
Well, it's
people.
our vision. I mean, I'm just directing it. I mean, I don't want to say just, but it
But you
that's why
wrote it.
it's right. I wrote it and I wrote it, but I didn't we're not publishing a book. We're making a movie. So like I wrote it and now I'm going to bring all my collaborators together and I'm going to focus on directing the way it should feel.
Okay.
So if my production designer thinks that this color of pink is the best thing to capture the feeling I'm going for, I'm probably going to trust them with that. And then when I see it on the monitor, I might be like, no, 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 it's still too bright. Or I might be surprised and be like, fuck, you were right. That is the right color. And like that's the beauty of making movies is you get to hire talented people to bring their artistry to it and their expertise in their department. I know how I like my photos to look and how I like my photos to feel, but I'm not a DP. I don't know all the ins and outs of that. I'm not a production designer. I'm not an actor. So there's a lot of trust that gets built and that trust gets built in the pre-production process. But really my job as the director is just to honor the intention of the feeling and the idea when I wrote the thing. But sometimes that changes even as we're there and we're like, maybe this needs to feel a little bit more like this now. And that's the conversation and that's the process that I love is finding it
And how does it,
together.
okay, then how does it feel to turn it over to someone to write the screenplay and write all the words
I
for it?
I I write my own shit, unfortunately.
Whoa. So you wrote
Yeah,
all,
or even if there's a couple things I might be directing coming out that other people wrote, but I'm like, I need to do a pass.
yeah.
Like I got to get in there to know the characters because, like I said, I do consider myself a writer first. Like I gotta. That's the thing. So I've directed a couple shorts that other people wrote, but I always just kind of have my hand in it, and I try to make sure I have final cut because really the thing with a movie, as you probably heavily relate to with your photos, like it comes together in the edit,
Mhm.
right?
Well, yeah. And I saw
Like
you're one of the editors on the film.
yeah, I picture locked it. Yeah, I'm the one that was like, worked with a great group of editors as well because I don't know how to press the buttons,
Right.
but when it comes down to it, and we got to get this thing finished, like I'm gonna call the shots on that. But it's like with photos, even. I mean, I edit my photos too. Like the colors you're talking about, like that's not. Is that how? Is that how the landscape photo you took felt on the day exactly, or are you? Does it then become something else when you bring the raw file into Photoshop or whatever?
Right. Yeah. It totally becomes something
Becomes
different.
something else.
Yeah. It becomes my vision from what the raw negative is just bland and boring. And I have to bring life to it. That's what I do. I take the image and I put life in it.
Your feelings,
Yeah.
yeah. And so same thing in all phases of the process with making a movie, and especially in the edit. The editing is crazy because you could do if I'm cutting to a close up in a certain moment, it could change the whole geometry of the scene.
That makes sense.
I can make things feel any way I want in the magic of editing, right? It's like there's a classic thing. It's just this is such film school bullshit, but and I don't remember the thing who to credit this to, but like there's like a shot of a man, like a close up shot of this man, and he's got this sort of surprised look on his face, and sometimes and then so what you do is you take that shot of the man, and then you cut to like a train that's about to hit a woman who's tied to the tracks. Oh my god, he's surprised, and then you cut to like a hot dog that has a hair on it, and then he's surprised. It's like everything is so relative in filmmaking based on the editing decisions you're choosing. So that's like really where the movie's written is in the edit. The script is just sort of the jumping off phase.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's fluid.
Wow. And then directing everything. I mean, I feel like that's such a huge pivotal point or, part of the movie where I feel like the director really like makes it like the movie what it is. And although you wrote it, what's it like to actually put it into execution and direct it? I mean, that must be a whole. I know you've done like your short films, but I feel like that's not as common written and directed. It's usually written by someone, directed by someone else.
Yeah, there's just it's like you got to kind of kill off the writer when you're directing. I don't
Yeah.
like I have a running gag when we're rehearsing where like if we're rehearsing something and it's not working and the dialogue's not clicking, I'll just be like, "Who wrote this bullshit?" You know, it's like you kind of had to like kill the ego and just be
Yeah.
like, "It's okay if this is bad now that we're acting it," because when I wrote it, it's okay. It was good in my
Sound great in
head.
my
Now
head.
that yeah, but then it's just like, okay, this sucks now. What are we gonna do? I feel like that's a lot of indie filmmaking is just pivoting and figuring out how to make something better kind of on the fly.
Was there any points where you wanted to give up while doing this? I'm sorry I'm asking so many
Yeah,
questions about
dude.
the movie, but I'm just like fascinated with how you created this.
No, yes, I wanted yes.
Yeah, you just wanted to
I
quit.
was yeah, dude, especially in we were in post-production for 2 years. Like imagine editing a photo for 2 years and you
I'd
just
want
at
to
a
throw.
certain point
Ugh.
yeah, you're like I can't look at this anymore. I hate this. You want to give up and just put it out, but then whatever, you just like take a little time away from it and smoke some cigarettes and gain 20 pounds and like and then you're back in, dude. It's crazy. It's grueling.
Have you shown your family the final cut?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm making them wait to see it on the big screen, which will hopefully be in February at some point. That's kind of when we're targeting like a Valentine's Day release. I want to do like I want to set it up to be like this fucking Matt Rife, Lucy Fry romantic comedy. Oh, my queen, can you come over? Like, I want to make it seem like it's this like comedy,
Oh, I love that. I will be
and
there
then
to
have it just
support
be like
you.
bonkers. Yeah, please, you got to come see it on the big screen.
I will fully be there to support you when it gets on the big screen.
Yeah, no, thank you for watching it even in its state on the link, but the theatrical experience is really what it's all about. So you got to come check it out.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Where, if anyone doesn't know where to find your stuff, can they find like any of your shorts on Amazon or where Prime?
I don't think any of my shorts are I think I've pulled them all just because I'm like, if you're gonna watch something, it's
Watch
gonna be I
this.
Live Here Now. But yeah, I'm on Twitter or X at Julie_Pacino and Instagram. It's just Julie Pacino. I ditched the underscore for Instagram for some reason.
Let's go.
I'm like mostly active on Instagram. I feel like it's a more peaceful place for me right now.
I get it.
So that's the best spot to slide into my DMs.
Amazing. And the
So
movie is called
I Live Here Now.
I Live Here Now. Thank you so much, Julie Pacino. You know I love your work. I love you. So
Love you too, dude. Thank you. This was
yeah.
amazing.